Coming to you from Memorial Stadium here at New Brunswick, New Jersey. Hello, everybody. We have WFA action here on this Memorial Day holiday weekend between the visiting Harrisburg Havoc and the hometown Tri-State Warriors. Very happy to have you with us today. I'm Tom Wilkins along with Joey Pagan. He's with me today, and Howard Gaber, of course, taking care of the controls. Of course, we'll be starting in a few minutes for the final regular season game between these two teams. And, Joey, real quick, before we run down the list of people involved with the Tri-State Warriors, your thoughts in regards to this battle today between two teams up and coming and trying to get their feet on the ground here.
Well, you have one organization that hasn't had a win yet, and they're looking to get on top, finish the season with a win at least, and the other one is only got one victory, so they're looking to finish up their season with 2 wins. Hopefully it'll be a good battle this afternoon here.
All right, well, just so you know, we're going to be starting probably in the next 10, 15 minutes. But let's go down and give you the list of people responsible for making everything happen. As you can see on the board here, for those of you watching, of course, we have the co-owners of the Tri-State Warriors in Richard Harrigan and LeBryant Robinson Sr., who have put this thing together and started back in September of 2021. The general manager, who we're hoping to have as a halftime guest today, Kerry Maybank. He is a big role player in this as well. We have also Chairman Reggie Raymond, who oversees a bunch of things here, and Vice Chairman Roy Hamilton, who does a lot of stuff, especially for communications, has some connections with Fox and ESPN and all that stuff. Treasurer for the Tri-State Warriors is Salita Harrison, and she's actually down in South Jersey, and she works on a bunch of things, a lot of accounting experience and whatever. And Secretary of Media and the Secretary and also Media and Marketing Strategist, that would be Brian Wright, who has had 25 years of human resources experience. The other ones we want to go through, board members at large, Communications Specialist Kim Williamson, Event Coordinator Leslie Thompson, and Player Personnel and Development Rashidi Hendricks. Other members at large, Tracy Washington Craig and Yamel Ayala, both advisory positions. Also player representative Ishana Alexander and project development person Tampa Bro. Now, I'll tell you this much. We mentioned last week about the All-Americans. We want to run down all those for the Tri-State Warriors. Let's bring up Jacques K. Dorsey, who is defensive end and offensive tackle, plays both sides of the ball. She's a first-team All-American. And Antoinette Wise, also known as Netta, plays both sides of the ball as well. Her highlight last week was that 88-yard interception return for a touchdown against New York here in New Brunswick. Now, the Warriors have 4 second-team All-Americans, and they're Dacia Broadhead, Randy Troy, Melissa Blaze, also known as Mel, and Big Dog, Carrie McDonald, who is right guard, unfortunately not with us after suffering an injury last week. And third-team All-Americans, Nikki Joseph, also known as Black Nasty, and number 8, Ashley Mathis, the running back. You'll see many of these players today as we have the matchup between the Harrisburg Havoc and the Tri-State Warriors, which I think is going to be a very interesting matchup. Now, if you take a look, and why don't we let Joey in and keep an eye out on what they've done this season so far.
Both teams, like I said, one hasn't had an opportunity. Oh, okay. The Tri-State Warriors they lost to the Baltimore Nighthawks 13-0, and lost twice to the Wolves here, and once to the Passion. And Harrisburg Havoc has lost to New York also, and their only win is against the Connecticut Hawks at the present moment. And this evening, hopefully, they can pull out another victory here against the Tri-County Wolves, Tri-State Wolves. Warriors.
It's a Tri-State Warriors. We will get it. Don't worry. But in any case, Harrisburg, of course, they won during their second game of the year. They've lost their last 3. And, of course, the Warriors trying to get on with their first win of the year to end their inaugural season here with WFA action. And just to give you a quick rundown of what the Tri-State Warriors have started. Remember, it was back in September 2021 when the Tri-State Warriors were founded, and of course, it gave them premier gridiron engagement opportunity for women's full contact football in New York, New Jersey, and Connecticut, otherwise known as the Tri-State area. A Division II member of the Women's Football Alliance, the Tri-State Warriors played to win with an offering an all-female squad with women 18 and older the opportunity to learn and play 11-on-11 professional tackle football with no experience necessary. Their motto this year has been, be bold, be brave, and be better. And that's actually not a bad motto considering, hey, we're always trying to do better every week when we go out here too. Wouldn't you agree, Joey?
Yes, sir. That is correct.
So you have to consider that, and just give you, I might as well just run with it and say in one of the other paragraphs, they're no stranger to the gridiron of women's tackle football. Founders and coaching tag team entrepreneurs, family men, best friends, and fraternity brothers, Rich Harrigan and LeBryant Robinson, also known as L.B. Robinson, set out on a quest after over 14 years combined experience coaching women's pro football to bring this brand of football to the Garden State, making the city of New Brunswick their football home. Historic franchises have come and gone in the Garden State over the last quarter century, and the Warriors will continue to grow that legacy as new members of the Women's Football Alliance. So needless to say, obviously they're building their way from the ground up. Of course, we broadcasted last week, and needless to say, the Warriors got to a nice start, forcing a couple of turnovers, but then the New York team ended up finally righting the ship late in the first quarter and ran away with a 41-6 win. Even though the Warriors, they have fought with a lot of heart. And last week, although they did suffer a good amount of injuries, I'm almost certain that they would love to end this season, this regular season, on a positive note. And they have a shot, I believe, against a Harrisburg team that has shown some early success, but they have struggled as of late. Now it's a matter of the team trying to put together a complete game to get that victory, to get them off the schneid to close the season out. What do you think, Joey, they would need to do?
I mean, like you said, that it's putting together a good game plan today, in the sense of good offense, calling the right plays, and hopefully defense can step up for the Tri-State Warriors and be able to hold this Harrisburg team down to no points if possible. But on the other hand, Harrisburg, has had some pretty decent games and done some pretty decent things. So, you never know what you're going to get this afternoon here. It's just a question of, who wants it more this evening between the two teams.
Well, you also have to consider, too, last week the Harrisburg Havoc came off a very difficult performance against the Virginia Lady Firehawks. And even though they didn't put any points on the board, I'm sure they'll be looking forward to try and get into the end zone as soon as possible. It's a matter of also knowing your opponent and what they need to do to try and pull together this lovely female game of chess on the football field. And I really think it's going to be a game of attrition where it's probably going to come down to the fourth quarter. And considering this would be a way to end the season for both teams, one has to come out on top. And as you said, Joey, just a matter of who wants it more.
Yeah, that's right. Whichever team comes out on fire and, looking to do more than the other. And it's pretty warm this evening, too. Who's got better conditioning going on this evening? It's just pretty much going to, like I said, it's going to come down who wants this game more this afternoon. Who can make more plays than the other team? Well,
also, game time temperature looks to be 75 degrees here in New Brunswick. Let's consider that we did have some rain go through the area earlier today. So I think another thing we're going to have to watch is not just the field conditions, if it's still wet on the field, but the fact that the sun has beaten on this field for the last hour and a half. That easily would heat up the turf conditions, and I'm kind of wondering if that's going to play a role with their footing and everything else.
It's possible. It could play a possible role in it, depending on how the field dried, whether it was quick. I'm not sure what the drainage is like on this field, but once again, it's offensive plays. You need your offensive line to make blocks to so your quarterback can complete passes, your running back can make runs, and you want your defense to step up in this game, and not allow any points, because both teams have given up quite a bit of points from what I can see. So this evening, neither one wants to give up any points. They want to keep it, down to a minimum where each team has a shot at the end of the game to be able to, have an opportunity to score.
Well, considering with the Warriors being a bit on the shorthanded side because of the injuries they suffered, especially last week, I think that they're going to be more fired up to complete the job. And please do not mind, for those of you watching, we are getting a little bit of a glare where the officials are. No, that is not a light shining from who knows where or a report of an unidentified flying object. It is just a glare from the window. We have to disclaimer it, folks, where the officials are. So as the sun goes down, obviously the lighting will certainly change. So we're only a couple minutes away from the Harrisburg Havoc and the Tri-State Warriors here on this holiday weekend. While we take a break, we'll come back with more right after this.
One of the biggest obstacles for Dakota with football, I feel like, is all of the injuries. He wasn't comfortable in the equipment that he had. From the start of when he got the pads from Zenith, he was a complete different kid.
He's seeing his development now. He's getting to the age where he's seeing his development and he knows what he's going to do to achieve it.
I love being able to watch him do what he loves. Zenith gave me that.
I have a secret. I'm done settling. Because this is my secret. No, really. I put it on once. No more touch-ups because this stick actually works. Secret has pH balancing minerals and it helps eliminate odor instead of just masking it. So no more T-Rex waves or covering up stinky pits when you're not cold. Pull it in close. Just trust me. Secret works.
At Serenity Nail Polish, our vision is to promote creativity, confidence, and self-expression for our leaders of the next generation. At Serenity Nail Polish, our mission is to provide all children and women access to a safer, healthier, chemical-free nail polish option. At Serenity Nail Polish, you are the creator, you are the brave, and above all, you are Serenity.
Okay, we are back here at Memorial Stadium here in New Brunswick, New Jersey. I'm Tom Wilkins, and we're Joey Pagan, Howard Gaber taking care of the controls. We haven't quite had the coin flip yet, but while we were doing commercials, we did have the national anthem, and it is not like us to not broadcast it, but because it is a recorded edition, it is considered copyrighted, and we are not going to have YouTube shut us down because of it. So that's the reason for that. It's not normal we do it, but that's that's the way it goes. We had somebody sing it last week, but not the case this week. So we'll be set to go in just a few minutes with the coin toss. Harrisburg will be in their it looks like gray uniforms with black numerals and black pants. Meanwhile, the Warriors will be in their all-black uniforms with black helmets and white numerals. The Havoc, they are led by the co-owners Tiffany and Kaylee Thomas, President Tuffy Howard, and Director of Marketing and Promotions, Shaniqua Williams. And if I'm not mistaken, Harrisburg is the home of one Micah Parsons. Let's not forget about that. Their head coach is Michael Chisholm, and assistants are John Balcom on offense and Antoine Strong on defense. So that's your listing for the Harrisburg Havoc as we await the coin toss that'll be coming up momentarily. So needless to say, I'm sure everyone is excited for this final week. I mean, there's not too many football choices in May, but for those of you choosing us here with WFA Action on HSG Network, we are very pleased and appreciate that you give us a shot here. Women's football coming up in just a couple minutes along with the coin toss here. And it'll be interesting to see how each coach devises a game plan as the game goes on. And speaking of game plans, This Tri-State Warrior football broadcast is presented by Glacier Clinics, which, let's put it this way, many concepts are used by people who have attended these clinics many a time, and they're a no-brainer for coaches who are committed to perfecting their craft. So if you want to learn from some of the best regarding the X's and O's of football, visit glazierclinics.com. That is GLAZIER clinics.com. And, of course, you can email for more details, info@glazierclinics.com. All right, the teams are now at the midfield stripe to get things started with the coin toss and all that stuff. And we'll see how that all plays out. I know it's a little bit of a glare here. You got to bear with us. Mother Nature is clearing things out very nicely after a couple of days of surprise storms. Last night we had a couple of wacky ones, and even South Jersey had a tornado warning in the Burlington area. But not as bad today, but much more tolerable as people enjoy the holiday. So I kind of lost my train of thought here for a second, but at least we got better weather here today. As for the Tri-State Warriors, the captains, Jacques Dorsey, along with Jacques Dorsey, I beg your pardon, Lisa Fisher, also known as LJ, and Antoinette Wise, they're out on the field to administer the coin toss, which has just been done. And it looks like the Warriors have won the toss, and they will receive to begin the game. They will go right to left, the Havoc left to right. We switch sides during the second quarter. And needless to say, I think the Warriors are looking to see what they can do first on offense. They struggled last week. You think they spent some time to work on what went wrong and see if they can make it better and make it right, especially for this last test of the season. That's you, Joe. I was just trying to see if you were there.
Yeah, no, I'm here. Just the glare is in the booth also bothering right at the moment. But, yeah, we got to hope that the offense can come together today and they can put up a game plan where they can score some points and move the ball. It would be interesting to see what they come out with. Maybe they'll go to their best receiver or, their running back, the jet, and see what happens, if they can open up some holes and get through there,
Well, also, let's consider somebody who really wants to perform well, quarterback Sine Williams. Very difficult game last week against New York with a bunch of turnovers, and I'm sure she would like to have some sort of retribution following just a tough performance by everyone last week. It was, needless to say, pretty difficult. I think one of the big highlights, or I don't know if I can call it a highlight, early last week, the injury to Carrie McDonald, who unfortunately suffered a leg injury, and obviously is not with the team today, but obviously our best wishes to her as she recovers from that injury, and hopefully by next season she'll be back and rolling stronger than ever. And you never want to see anyone get hurt in these conditions, but I'm willing to bet for these two teams, it's going to be a matter of who's going to win, and the three elements of the game: offense, defense, and special teams.
Yeah, those are all three big factors in this game. Special teams can be big also because you never know. One big play, kick return or punt return can make it for you, and you get some offensive points on the board that way, and then everything can shut down. Offense can play horrible, or the defense can play horrible, and nobody does anything in this game. And you get points off of the special teams, which is always very important.
And needless to say, the turnover battle is also going to be a big thing. Now, remember, last week, in the first 4 minutes of the game, the Warriors were able to force 2 turnovers, one on special teams. Unfortunately, they were not able to capitalize off either turnover, and then the Wolves went on their way to their win last week. But here, new game, new opponent, and I'm sure Tri-State looking to try and put last week in the rearview mirror and go on and try and have a good finish here. And by the way, I just want to talk about Sine Williams, the quarterback. She's out of Philadelphia, and she goes to Temple University, or is from Temple University, and she enjoys lifting weights on her free time.
Can you imagine that? Lifting weights. That's great.
And you don't need a Planet Fitness to do a job like that. That's for certain.
Definitely. That's right. That's absolutely right.
Well, but there's also a Club Metro, if you want me to go ahead and use that. But we'll do that a little bit later on. But, of course, we're having a little bit of a delay because we're waiting for the chain gang to get here because they'll be doing the first down markers on the far side of the field. So, but anyway, another person to look out too, especially offense and defense, Antoinette Wise, Netta Wise out of Norristown. She's a veteran, and she actually went to TCU and Northampton Community College. Netta, big into art and a big fan of another NSU, shall we say. We headbutt them, the former Redskins, down to Washington Commanders.
That is correct.
Yeah, that's going to be fun. And we had to deal with them the final week of the year in D.C. So, well, at least I do. I don't know about you, but so keep your eye on her. And somebody else I think might be a big player in this game, Dacia Broadhead. And she's out of Albany, New York, and out of the University of Albany, which is certainly a few hours north of here. And like me, lifelong Cowboys fan, and loves her shrimp, that's for sure. And I have to look up imdb.com to see if Radio is actually a movie.
It is. I believe it's Remember the Titan, and Radio is one of the characters in the movie.
Okay. Well, let's be honest.
Yeah.
I've seen Any Given Sunday, but I've never seen Remember the Titans.
You got to watch it. It's a great movie. It's a great movie.
For Bengals fans, they probably could care less about the Titans right now, but that's another story. But in any case, definitely another lady to watch. And by the way, Jack Way, she's out of Lindenwold, New Jersey, attended Lincoln University, and she actually works as a clinical associate during her time. She's an Eagles fan. Big movie for her is Coach Carter, and if she does well and the team wins, I'm sure she'll be going back and having a great plate of spaghetti as her favorite food. There's no question about that.
Spaghetti is a great food. It's a fun food. I like it. It's one of my favorites.
Yeah, I enjoyed that along with the pizza, panzerottis, that type of stuff. So I know. I'm a very simple eater. I'm not one for Chef Ramsay, but that's another story. Teach his own. All right, so we await the kickoff, which will be coming up. We just want to let you know official time is being kept on the field in case we do get a score clock, and I don't think we will. But just so you know, official time is kept on the field. We play 12 4-minute quarters. Make that 4 12-minute quarters. Boy, imagine we're in the 11th quarter. It's like 2.5 minutes left. That'd be an interesting way of football. But anyway, so each quarter is 12 minutes, and I believe the teams kick off at the 40-yard line. For most cases, NFL rules are used, but of course there's always some derivatives that do happen once in a while. So the officials making sure Harrisburg's lined up, and I am incorrect, they do kick off in the 35 like the NFL. More times than not, you would expect a directional kick. They do have, the Warriors have 2 players back standing at around the 15-yard line. They want to make sure everyone's lined up correctly. They have 5 the front row, 4 in the middle, and the 2 returners in the back, standing at about the 15. So Broadhead is one of the returners, and so is Antoinette Wise. So let's see how things go. Starting to become a warm early evening here at New Brunswick, New Jersey, the New Brunswick High School field, which is about a mile from New Brunswick High School as it is. But that's where we're at. There's the approach, and the kick, I don't know what just happened there, but the kickoff only went 5 feet. That was...
I think the wind blew it off. They might need to hold the ball.
Or Kyle Schwarber was kicking it off. I don't know. But I guess they'll try. I don't know if they'll just try again, maybe back it up 5. They'll get a do-over. So, not exactly sure what it takes. You just never know what happens, but Joey, have you ever seen one of those?
Never in all my years, in all 20-plus seasons of football, I have never seen the kick in that manner. But
well, I've never seen you have a delayed reaction in that matter, too.
That's how slow the kick was. Nice.
Well, so try it. All right, let's take 2. Referee will blow the whistle. And remember, it's a live ball after 10 yards. Here it is. And this time it's better. It's a live ball, and it bounces out of bounds at the 47-yard line. So that's where the Tri-State Warriors will get the ball. Usually it's 25 yards from the kick, but if it's less than 25, they spot it at the place where it went out of bounds. So good field position to start for the Tri-State Warriors. And now this is the moment of redemption for Sine Williams. As we mentioned, she had a difficult game last week. Now's her chance of redemption. We'll see how she does. What do you expect the Warriors to line up with?
All right, they may come out in their basic formation, 2 by 2, I guess, and one back in the backfield. But it's a different day. You gotta think last week, they didn't do so well. So maybe coach went and put a different, scheme in for this weekend and see what they come out with. Oh, they came out with a 3-by-1.
Yeah, they're going to go with a 4-receiver set. They tripled the near side. It looks like they almost have a triangle. And now they move one very, very close to the near sideline. Sine Williams in the shotgun formation as we wait 1st and 10, and actually the ball is spotted at the midfield stripe. So let's see what it turns out for the opening play of this game. 1st and 10.
Yeah, we're just waiting on the ref to finish spotting the ball. I don't know what the problem is right now.
Remember, we are without sticks, so they're using the first down markers as cones in its place.
Seems like we're ready to get started now. Here we go.
Well, if speaking of first, that's the first time I've seen that. But, hey, if one doesn't work, you might as well try the other. All right, here we go. 1st and 10 from the midfield stripe. Here's Williams back, looking. Going to take a deep shot down the field. And it's caught at the 30-yard line and running away to the field to the 20, down to about the 18-yard line for a 32-yard pickup. Beautiful grab by Jacqueline Todd.
What a great pass.
The rookie out of Hamilton, who was able to bring that down for a 32-yard pickup.
Yeah, the ball was underthrown a bit there. She managed to get back and, get position and catch the ball and turn and go, and she broke one tackle and the other. She couldn't get away from the safety there on top.
And I think what she did, the ball, as you mentioned, was a little underthrown. So talk about making a good adjustment of the route. Todd was able to do so and able to get a nice gain, and here they are in the red zone for the first time. 1st and 10 from the Harrisburg 18-yard line. Williams again to shotgun, same formation, tripling the left side, but spreading out a little bit more. Back to the right. Williams is going to take a shot at the end zone and overthrows the intended receiver incomplete. They were going for Randy Troy, the rookie receiver out of Brick.
Yeah, she had good protection there, too. She's been getting good time in the pocket to throw the ball. She wasn't able to connect on that pass there. She had a receiver open there, too.
But I also wonder if Troy got her feet tangled up during the route. That may have had something to do with it.
It did look like maybe the turf monster grabbed her and said, no, you're not going that far. You stop it right here.
Well, I guess better the turf monster than Cookie Monster. Either way, they get gulped up. It's incomplete. 2nd and 10 from the 18-yard line. This time they change for formation. They go spread, evenly divide receivers. Back to the right, Sine Williams. Waiting for the shotgun snap. Will take. 5-step drop throw, right pass caught, and getting to about the 10-yard line, about 2 yards shy of a first down. And that time, that was Randy Troy. That was the intended receiver the first time around. But this time she's able to bring it down a little short of a first down. They're going to give the 10-yard line. Go ahead.
3 consecutive passes, and it was a great pass there. And, once again, the offensive line gave her protection. Running back stepped up to block also, which was great.
Well, anyway, 3rd and 2 from the 10-yard line. I was going to ask if you think they're going to switch to a run on 3rd and short.
They possibly might. I mean, it looks like they're gearing up for it. Same formation, 3-by-1, so we'll see what they do here. She's in the shotgun still.
All right, she takes the snap. It's going to be another pass. Going for the end zone, and just out of the reach, incomplete. That was Todd, the intended receiver. I tell you one thing, if it was maybe another 0.2 of a second, she gets it.
Yeah, that's right. If Todd, I think Todd could have jumped a little bit also there, and she might have been able to come down with it, but she had great protection once again, and we have not even seen the run yet. I'm waiting to see. They may come out with a running play now, but it's something that they came out with this many passes in a row.
Well, just keep in mind it is 4th and 2 from the 10-yard line, so if they're going to run, this might be the time to do it. So they'll break huddle, and looks like they're going to go spread here and evenly divide the receivers. Now they're going to send what looks to be Todd toward the right, make a triple. So we'll see. And then the back is still left of Sine. 4th and 2 from the 10-yard line. Williams will await the snap. They send a man in motion or woman in motion, and here's a handoff going around the middle side, trying to break through, cannot. And it goes down at the 14, loses 4 yards. That was Caroline Drumgoole, who played a big role in last week's game, especially on offense. But the Harrisburg penetration just closed basically any window for her to get through. So a 4-yard loss, and unfortunately for the Warriors, they turned the ball over on downs just as the chain gang is arriving to the far side of the field.
Yeah. The defense wasn't fooled on that last play with the motion going away, and the linebacker stayed home. So did the end. The linebacker was able to come up and make a great play on her. So that was good by the defense. They came up well. They came up really well. So, I mean, you had to expect that, you had 4 or 5 passes in a row, that they were going to run the ball. So, you stay home. You got to tell your linebackers and your ends, make sure you stay home. And that's what they did, and they were able to come up with a big play there.
All right, so now the chain gang gets himself ready to go. So a little bit of a different way of doing things, as they say. So, all right, so we continue onward as Harrisburg will have the ball for the first time. 1st and 10, pretty deep in their own territory at the 14-yard line, looking to pass, firing left. Oh, and a nice grab at about the 25, 26-yard line.
Once again, great adjustment by the receiver to stop and turn around and be able to make the catch. Great adjustment. That was awesome on the receiver's part there.
Well, I believe it was Lee Crump who was able to make the grab there, and ends up being a first down, a gain of 12. The quarterback we have listed here is Bianca Santos out of Penn State University. So, like I said, we're dealing with some glare here, so we apologize for not able to get everything in, but we will. So 1st and 10, ball spot at the 28 after a 14-yard pickup. Now an end-around play. And, slipping out one tackle to the 30, and then getting pancaked down. That was Lisa Fisher, LJ with the sledgehammer on the running back at about the 31-yard line. 3-yard pickup.
Just as the running back thought that she was able to make a cutback and get back to the middle field. That's what you want. You want your linebacker that's trailing to make a big hit when he comes across the field and make a play like that. That was a big hit, big hit. That was awesome right there.
A tremendous play by LJ there out of Urbana University. Boy, talk about a hard hit. There you go. 2nd and 7 from the 31. Bianca Santos, the quarterback, is back. Going to throw left, looks for a receiver, and doesn't quite get there. Incomplete. On the coverage was Todd. Remember, a lot of these ladies are playing on both sides of the field here, so that could play a role later on, especially in a close game in the final quarter.
Definitely would, because, once again, like I said earlier, conditioning is going to be big in this game. And they were in man coverage just now, so that was pretty good for the Warriors there.
Now going with 3rd and 7 from the 31-yard line. Here's Santos back. Well, throw left side and almost intercepted. That was pretty close, and I'm not sure who exactly was. That was Antoinette Wise, who almost came away with the interception, but was able to knock it away. Remember, Antoinette had an 88-yard interception return for a touchdown last week against New York, so she's going to be dangerous, especially on the defensive side.
Yeah, this time it looked like she let the ball get into her too close. Instead of high-pointing it, she let the ball get in, and it just bounced off her chest. That was the problem there. But she had good defense, though. That was great. Good defense on that.
So far, even though the offense have shown some good things for the Warriors, the defense, they're looking to kick in here, and they've done a pretty good job so far following that first play. Now, what's Harrisburg going to do on 4th down?
Oh, they're punting, yes.
We'll see who is out punting, especially in the far area. So they do line up in stature, 4th and 7. And they could be showing a possible block, and I think somebody jumped here. There's a low line driver. The play was blown dead anyway, and that's going to be an encroachment foul against the Warriors. And even though it was 4th and 7, it forces a 4th and 2, and possibly a change in mindset for the Havoc on this 4th down play.
It's possible. I mean, it looked like the defensive end was a little anxious to get in there to try to block the ball, and she jumped off sides. But he called offense. No, he switched it up now. They called it on the defense. That they fixed it.
All
Yep.
right. Sorry.
Yeah,
And-
no, they did. Refs just, made a mistake there, but, the defense right now, they need to hold their water. They just can't jump. They got to look down at the ball, make sure the ball is snapped before crossing the line of scrimmage. So, because if they do that now, they wind up giving up a first down here.
Well, and this is going to be critical. You really can't make these mental mistakes because usually the 5-yard penalties are more disciplinary penalties, if anything else, especially from a mental standpoint. And I don't know if they're showing punt here, but let's see what they do on 4th and 2.
They're going for it.
They're going to throw an option, I think. And they
Fumble.
threw it the wrong way, and now look at this. Whoever has it's in trouble and goes down all the way back at the 25-yard line.
That defense wasn't fooled at all. Everybody was on the ball. They swarmed the ball carrier there. She tried to pitch it. Wasn't a good pitch to begin with, but the defense was there. They were ready for that play. Even if she would have gotten off a great pitch, I don't think she would have gotten plus yardage on that anyway. So,
Well, Lee Crump. So Lee Crump was the one who had it and unfortunately couldn't handle the option. Good job by the defense. We're a little bit more than 3 minutes into this game, but it's only approximate because, as I mentioned, official time is kept on the field. So as far as the Warriors are concerned, they have a new lease on life and tremendous field position and a short field to work with, 1st and 10 from the Havoc 25-yard line.
Be
Go ahead.
interesting to see what they call now, if they're going to go back to that passing game and see what they do, if they're going to try, throwing the ball again. So,
Well, this time Sine looks like she's going to be under center for this play.
big running back in the backfield. Fullback, number 77.
Yeah, definitely a fullback here.
Nikki Joseph.
And let's see if they go with her. But is she? Oh, and there's
Fumble.
a fumbled exchange, and I think it was recovered by the Warriors. Just a snap, but didn't have the right communication. Oh wait, it's recovered by Harrisburg.
Yeah, the indication is Harrisburg. Harrisburg recovered the fumble. That's something else.
That was Jennifer Dixon on the recovery for the Harrisburg Havoc out of the Middletown Area High School in Middletown, Pennsylvania. I know there's a Middletown near Levittown, Middletown Township, but this one is right next to Harrisburg.
Right.
Kind of like the Harrisburg East area of the Pennsylvania Turnpike.
These are the kind of mistakes you can't make during the course of this game, especially, when you got this kind of field position. You need to capitalize on this. So
1st and 10, Harrisburg. They have a new lease on life now at their own 27-yard line. Here's Santos back going to pass. A short one. Pass is caught, but telegraphing that one beautifully was Caroline Drumgool, who was able to bring the receptor down, and I believe that was Stephanie Enck, I beg your pardon, out of Mechanicsburg, who went to Shippensburg University.
yeah, tackled by number 16, Caroline. She was right on her. As soon as she caught the ball, she made a play on that right away and was able to get her for minimum gain, if any, on that play there.
They say no gain on the play, so 2nd and 10 for the 27-yard line. So Santos will be in a shotgun formation, takes it, has time, throws up the middle, and the pass caught. Oh, and a very
Fumble.
hard hit, and the ball came out right after. No
picked up.
whistle, and
No
it's
whistle.
recovered. It's recovered. It's Antoinette Wise. She is not going to make it into the end zone. Tried to tightrope app and unfortunately fell off the rope at about the 4-yard line. But there was no whistle, and good job by the Warriors, able to continue playing until there was a whistle.
That was very smart, playing the ball into the whistle. You didn't hear a whistle. You got up, you picked the ball up, you kept running with it. Unfortunately, she was not able to tightrope down the sideline and went out of bounds. But once again, they got great field position. And, let's see what they do this time. I mean, the last time, they turned the ball over themselves. These are key. These turnovers are key right here during this point of the game. You want to establish your offense and a good drive. And, these, turnovers are killing both teams at the present moment.
Well, Antoinette actually stepped out of bounds at the 15-yard line. So instead of out at the 4, she's out at the 15. But, again, alert, heads-up play by Netta Wise there. As Sine Williams is back again, 1st and 10 from the Havoc 15-yard line. They triple the left side. They bunch it a little bit. She takes a snap. Going to take a shot at the end zone. Has a receiver. There you go. Welcome to the end zone. That is Jacqueline Todd. And I guess you can finally play that little snippet that was put together. Yeah, you got to take a look at this.
That was a great pass and catch.
Well, how about listening to this? Well, I'll take that more away. That was presented by Queen Johnny with the score there. But how about that? A very nice score. Sine Williams to Jacqueline Todd, 15-yard strike. And they will go for the, I believe, 2-point conversion here. Let's see what Sine does this time. Will be ball spot, I believe, at a 3. Here's Sine, and she might take it herself. She'll have to try and hurry and get around, but she's forced out of bounds. Good job by the Harrisburg defense to force her out. There was nobody open, so the conversion fails. So 6-0, the Warriors lead the Harrisburg Havoc, and I tell you, Joey, you got to check this replay out. Presented by Secret Deodorant, by the way. We just want to give them a crazy shout. Let's go ahead and see how Sinead did the job.
Yep. Right now, once again, the offensive line has been giving her a lot of time in the pocket, so she was able to get a nice post to the middle of the field. So she gets the ball back here. Offensive line, there is a pass, and there it is. The defender had her back turned to the receiver. She didn't see the ball coming. She could have probably made a play, but great catch by number 88, Jacqueline. Anyway, Todd, it was a great pass, great catch. Once again, though, offensive line holding it together there. They've been big this afternoon here. And maintaining the pocket for her. That's great.
This evening.
Yes. At the time I might watch is crazy.
That's perfectly okay. Well, it's what is it? Well, Joey, was it 7:30 in Puerto Rico?
Same time, 6:30 over there.
Oh, okay, so they share the same Eastern Daylight Time zone.
We do.
Hawaii, it's 1:30, but in the PM, but goes without saying. Anyway, good job on the part of the Warriors, scoring first and taking that 6-0 lead. The scoreboard right now says 7:36 left here in the first quarter. Just keep in mind, official time is kept on the field and may reset any time, especially when we get to quarter time. While we have a second, we present to you the Loft Lounge, a proud sponsor of Tri-State Warriors football. They have a lot of good stuff. Tuesday night tacos, Sunday brunch, and plenty of others in this place, which is great to experience. And the people who have gone there have said they've been missing this vibe in Philly for some time. They offer food and drinks and plenty of other things. The Loft Lounge is located at 3847 Terrace Street in Philadelphia. For more information, just email the.loftlounge38@gmail.com. Here's the kickoff. A pretty good one, taking about the 28 and then went through the returner's hands, fielded about the 18-yard line, trying to get around a couple of players and not going to get too far, although she still pushes and gets to about the 26-yard line. So despite the fact Anderson with the tackle, but despite the fact that the ball went through her hands, it was Lee Crump who was able to return it to the 26-yard line.
Great coverage by the Warriors there. Getting downfield, the ball went back underneath the girl's legs, and she was able to get it back and still bring the ball back for at least a few yards. But it was great coverage by the Warriors. Once again, we talked about special teams. That could have been a big play for the Warriors if they would have been able to recover that. But Harrisburg got on the ball. She ran it forward for a little bit, which was good. So right now we got offense coming out. 1st and 10.
Well, we had Bianca Santos have a nice start to her opening drive, but since then the defense for the Warriors has really tightened up, and they've been playing pretty well so far. They've been really forcing a lot of havoc. In fact, they forced a turnover that led to these. Well, we're not trying to employ names here. However, they've been causing chaos on the field. I'm trying to get the words right here. Anyway, they try a little bit of trickery, and the handoff is going to go inside after going out, and a flag down. I think Crump was the one with the carry. We'll see what the penalty is, and I wouldn't be surprised if there was offensive holding, but there's always a possibility of a face mask in there as well. We'll see the officials.
It was great. It was a great play by the defense, too, where they, everyone maintained their rush lanes. No one was able to, over pursuit. And when she decided to cut back, there was one of the Warriors players standing there waiting for her. So that was great on defense as far as the Warriors go.
Unfortunately, one of the hands of the Warriors got into Crump's face mask and pulled it enough to cause a 15-yard penalty. So an automatic first down for the Havoc, as they will now resume from the 41, just shy of the 41-yard line. So Bianca Santos, the quarterback, standing in an empty gun this time. No, she's under center. I beg your pardon. Sends a runner in motion now. She reverses gears. Back to pass. No, it's an inside handoff,
Once again,
and not much, if anything, there.
that defense is tenacious. They are making plays on that defensive line. Everyone's getting there to the ball quickly. They're getting past the offensive line. The offensive line ain't doing much for the Harrisburg Havoc here. They need to come up with some better blocks. I mean, they've had a couple opportunities, but they haven't been able to capitalize on it. Once again, the defense is playing smart. They're staying in their lanes. They're pursuing right, and they're making plays.
And so far, so good. But you have to remember, you're dealing with a different skill set here in comparison to last week. 2nd and 12 from the 39-yard line. Santos, back to pass, has some time. Will Law throw up the middle, and it's intercepted. It's Antoinette Wise. There she goes to the 40, to the 30. I see another pick six coming. Deja vu. Welcome to the end zone.
Flag.
But a flag at the 12. Hold on a second. And if it's a block in the back, and it is against the Warriors, so take the points off the board just yet.
Once again, these little mistakes, cost you some big plays there, so much stuff. You cannot afford to do these little mistakes. You got to be more focused in what you're doing. You can't have those kind of penalties. They hurt everyone, especially on a night like tonight.
And that sure didn't make Wise very happy when that happened, because that would have been 2 pick sixes in as many weeks. But unfortunately, it gets nullified because of an illegal block in the back. And remember, they penalized 10 yards from the infraction, so we'll see where the officials spot the ball. And this is the crazy part. Looks like they're spotting the ball at the 13-yard line, which means – oh, I'm sorry. The infraction happened at the 10, and now they're going to back it up to about the 20-yard line. So sometimes I get a little fooled by where the sticks are.
Yeah, the sticks are on the other side. Anyway, let's see what the Warriors offense can do now if they can get back together with the offensive line, because they seem to be able to pass the ball well this evening, so that's a good thing. I mean, you got to run every now and then to keep it honest, but if you can pass all afternoon, all evening, then let's just pass all evening.
We'll just pass the midway point here in the first quarter. Let's see if the Warriors can get some more points on the board here. Sine Williams in a shotgun. And the back is Drumgold to her left. I'll get the genders correct. Here's Williams back to pass. Looking. Going to take a shot at the end zone. And there you go. A completed catch, and welcome to the end zone. And this time it is Randy Troy who brings out, once again, a repeat on a score.
Once again, that was great time by the offensive line, but the best thing was number 16 was picking up that blitz. Once again, we're back. So, yes, once again, number 16 picking up the blitz is what was able the quarterback to get the ball downfield to make the pass and catch for a touchdown.
Randy Troy, the catch on the 20-yard touchdown reception. Again, going for two will be the Warriors as Sine will be in the shotgun. Last time didn't work. Goes back, looks, throws in the pike, and there it is. A 2-point conversion through a middle screen or middle post, and it worked. And the Warriors have made it a 14-0 lead.
That was a quick slant by the offense, which was great. Once again, the offensive line stand their ground. They were able to maintain their blocks and give her that passing lane to get the ball off really quick on the quick slant, which was awesome. Once again, the offensive line this evening is playing great. Why not pass all night? That is the best thing we can do right now.
And they've been doing a good job of it. Another Queen Johnny touchdown here for the Tri-State Warriors. This game, by the way, presented by Observa-Me. Keep in mind that an active life demands convenience in order to maintain the drive and determination to hit the pavement, links, water, rocks, boat, or ice daily. The Observa-Me brand of performance wear allows you to keep track of your progress. Hopefully you enjoyed the ride, and don't forget to tell your admirers to Observa-Me. Visit observame.net, OBSERVAME.net. That is for Observa-Me, a proud sponsor of Tri-State Warriors football. 14 points in the first quarter for Tri-State. Already they've eclipsed their total for the season, and I tell you right now, given how they're playing so far, this is really going to put some confidence in this group of young women here. Here's a kickoff, taking on a run about the 32-yard line, and getting to about the midfield stripe, and maybe a little more than that, to the 48, maybe 47-yard line. And again, Crump with the return. She's been all over the place with the ball, whether on special teams or on offense. And Harrisburg's going to have their best field position so far in this game.
It was a good return by her. She fielded the ball well. She got underneath it, took it on the fly, and just kept with the momentum going forward up for at least 15, 20 yards to get good field position. Let's see if they can, do something offensively here where, they can maintain possession of the ball and not make any mental mistakes here.
Looks like we're going to have a timeout here, so I guess we might take a quick break. 14-0 Warriors over to Havoc. We'll come back in a moment.
The football used by 70% of high schools and more NCAA programs than any other is also the #1 selling football in the U.S., the Wilson GST game ball. To ensure superior tack and pebble definition, Wilson sources only the finest leather, which is treated with a proprietary Wilson-developed tanning process. A small team of expert craftsmen then constructs each GST game ball right here in the USA.
Okay, Harrisburg back with the football at the Warrior 47-yard line. Quarterback Bianca Santos trying to drive her troops down the field and get some points on the board. Been a little bit of a rough start. They've turned the ball over twice, and that's how the Warriors have gotten all 14 of their points. Sending a runner in motion, and now an inside handoff. Took a little while to develop, but there's Crump again, and she's still plowing her way down to the 41-yard line. That is a tough runner for sure, and a gain of 7.
That was the first time that the defense gave up any yards rushing there. A lot of arm tackling is what I saw on that last play. So maybe the fact that they're going both ways, they're getting a little winded now, and the tackling is getting a little more sloppier than it was that beginning of this first quarter here. So, they still got to do technique. Proper technique is always what you want here, Wrap and drive, that's it.
Actually, the runner was Janisha Patterson, who had that rough 7-yard gain, almost a la Marion Barber there. So 2nd and 3 from the 41-yard line. Santos again to shotgun, back to pass, has time, lofts one, and very tight coverage. Pass is incomplete. Janiah Taylor on the coverage there. Janiah out of Wilmington went to Delaware Tech. She was able to prop the ball away. And I'll tell you, it seems like the plays are just slowly developing, but the Warriors have been staying stride for stride so far.
She was there. She was right there on point. Harrisburg picked up a blitz by the Warriors also too, which was good because if not, that would have been a big play for the Warriors. But the secondary's been playing well. They've been staying with the receivers and not giving up anything really.
3rd and 3 from the 41-yard line. Again, sending a runner in motion to the left. Another inside handoff, and gonna get a first down, I believe, depending on the spot. And now she's being pushed backward.
Once again, that defense, the Warriors defense, they're really tenacious. They're stepping up. They're trying not to give anything up at this moment. They don't want to give any yards up, but they gave up a few there, but they are all on that ball. You say 11 to the ball, there was at least 7 to 8 hats on that ball right there, which was really good. That's what you want to see.
Kaylee Thomas was the runner there, and she was just short of a first down. So now comes a 4th and a yard, and I would think that probably do the same play. I mean, they've shown a pretty vulgar display of power. Well,
Yeah.
I wouldn't say vulgar when you push people back and you end up getting 7 yards on the play.
They've
And
had some success on that left side. Let's see what they do.
Well, they might do the same thing again. Keep your eye on the slot receiver to the right, trying to go into the middle before the play happens. 4th and a yard. And it's going to be a keeper. Oh, and a stiff arm. And now a pitch out. And they, what are we going to do here? And I don't even know what happened there, but she stopped 2 yards short. I mean, there was open field for her to take a turn and get the first down, but instead she went east-west rather than north-south.
She opted to pitch the ball, which was a mistake there. The defense was there. They still would have gotten a first down, but, once she pitched it, that's when the defense seemed like they woke up like, oh, wait a minute, I got to react to this ball now, and got out there, made a play, and made a play for a loss and wind up getting first down going the other way now.
Well, it didn't quite work out for Harrisburg. They had the right idea. It was just slowly executed, and the speed of the Warriors caught up with the Havoc. And once again, the Warriors had the ball on downs. They'll have it at their own 41. That was Taryn Johnson McIver out of John Harris High School in Harrisburg. So a tough break there for the Havoc. They had something going, and the Warriors stepped up when they needed to.
Yeah, those are the things you don't want. Like I said, mistakes like that you don't need. You got momentum going. You don't want to make any mental mistakes, and they did. Now they lost possession of the ball. Tri-State's coming out. Let's see what they do here.
Well, they're going to go pro set here. They spread out here, back to the right of Sine Williams. Ball at the 41-yard line. She'll take the snap. Looking, has time, pump fakes. Now she's going to roll. And she may have to run and will, and gets back to the line of scrimmage barely. Maybe a half a yard short of it. If that's the case, then it's a sack.
The Havoc defense decided to wake up. Yeah, the defense decided to wake up there, and, they stayed home. They got pressure. She came out. She scrambled up, tried to take a rushing lane straight up the middle, but it didn't work because the Havoc was there waiting for her. Linebacker was disciplined and stayed home.
A good tackle by Kaylee Thomas that time, stuffing Williams there. She had nowhere to go. After the pump fake, the pocket just collapsed, and she just couldn't find anyone open, so she had to rely on herself there. So 2nd and 10, maybe 10 and a third. Ball spotted right outside the 41-yard line. Looks like same formation as before. Actually, going to go triple on the far side of the field. Sine waits the snap, gets it. This time has a lot of time. Throws middle, pass caught to about the 47. Sneaks out of a tackle or two to the 49-yard line. That's called keep pushing until there's a whistle.
That is correct.
And somebody's still down there, or all right, good. She Gobbin is all right. That would be Kate Velkamp out of Rumson, New Jersey, a registered nurse. And we always got to send shout-outs to all the people who serve our country, but also our first responders and RNs and nurses, anyone in the medical field. Hey, we salute you, of course, as always, and especially to Kate, who is one of those. So she got to the 49-yard line, so a gain of, we'll say, 7. They're going to spot the 48, so 3rd and 3. Clock down to 1:20 and counting here in the first quarter. And again, they'll triple the right side here as Williams sets up in a shotgun snap. Left receiver playing a little more toward the near side. Now Sine will take the snap. They're coming. They fire, and it is caught. And a good catch again. A first down for Jacqueline Todd, who gets into Harrisburg territory at the 43-yard line. So a gain of 9 on the play. And what a nice reach out by Todd.
It was a great catch by her. The defense was there on top of her, but, she's making these great plays. She's adjusting to the ball and coming back and making the catches. And then she almost broke the tackle there to get upfield again. They're playing the single safety high, so she's not going to get that deep, but still, it is. She's having a great game. She's putting it together. Her and the quarterback.
Well, she has a touchdown already of the 14 points. Of course, the other one was Randy Troy. More than likely, this will be the last play of the first quarter as we're down 15 seconds and counting. 1st and 10 from the Harrisburg 43-yard line. Here's Sine Williams in the shotgun. Again, same formation as the last couple of plays. She'll take Go back, looking, firing, pass
Oh.
is incomplete right as the silent horn sounds to finish the quarter. So that was intended for Troy, but she couldn't hang on to it. So we've reached quarter time with the Tri-State Warriors leading the Harrisburg Havoc by a count of 14-0. Come back for quarter number 2 right after this.
We want to have fun, and we also want to dominate the world.
I feel like as athletes, we're just always beating ourselves up, so we want to stay at the top of our game.
And KT tape is something that every time I pick it up, I know I'm going to be, best supported and enhanced by. So that's awesome.
A lot of times I'm not even injured. It's just coming from, a hard workout and I'm sore the next day. Just a little tape to relieve the pain and get the most out of my training.
I don't have time to mess around. If something's not working, it's like out of my kit. Just every product they use is simple and it's effective and it helps me feel better. It's a beautiful product that supports you. We all need a little more support in life.
Cahill drops back and throws. She's got a wide open receiver. Cooper goes to the right, gets a hole, finds enough for a first down, breaks a couple tackles. She's only got one person to beat. She's going to be in for a Minnesota Vixen touchdown.
And she's in for another touchdown.
She's down to the 10, the 5, and she's in. Is she in? For a touchdown!
Well, I'm containing my excitement for right now as we have reached quarter number 2 here from Memorial Stadium here in New Brunswick, New Jersey, used, of course, by New Brunswick High School. I'm Tom Wilkins, Joey Paganis with me, Howard Gaber taking care of the controls, WFA football. Here with the Warriors ahead of the Havoc 14-0 to begin the second quarter of play. So where we're set, it is 2nd and 10 as the ball is spotted at the Harrisburg 43-yard line. Tri-State off to a great start with 2 touchdowns, and the points all came off turnovers. There was a fumble recovery and an interception by Antoinette Wise, so she's been on the side of causing the turnovers to happen. She almost returned an interception for a touchdown and nearly returned a fumble for a touchdown, but stepped out of the 15-yard line. So now there's been a little rest. Let's see what the Warriors do on 2nd and 10. Ball at about 42. Sine Williams, the quarterback, back to the right. Shotgun formation once again. Rolls back, has time, now being chased, and will lob.
Great
and the pass
catch.
is caught at about the 37-yard line. Randy Troy. And it's down to, so it's a gain of 5 on the play. By the way, just so you know, they are playing college rules. So you can't slide, make a catch, and then try and get up and get more yardage. That does not work here.
That last defensive series there was good. The Havoc looked like they were in a 4-3 cover 2 there, so they weren't able to get deep on them this time.
So it'll be 3rd and 5 in the 37-yard line, trying to up-tempo this a little bit. Here's Williams back. Chase being pressured. Now has room to run as she wants, but instead runs out of bounds at the 38 and loses a yard. I believe that's a sack. Well,
To the sideline.
Well, each player gets 1/11 of a sack. We'll just say that. Yeah, but whoever's closest usually gets credit for it. But it ends up being a 1-yard loss, and now the Warriors are faced with a 4th and 6. They are up 14-0. Do you now try and keep Harrisburg deep in their own territory, or do you risk it and try and go for it?
I think they're going to go for it. Harrisburg had some good pressure from the backside on that side. I don't know what's going on with the left side of the offensive line not holding their blocks at this present moment, but they seem to be getting a lot of pressure. They've been blitzing on that side also.
Let's see how they line. They're going to triple the left side. 4 receivers set. Williams with it back to the right on 4th and 6. Ball spotted at the 38-yard line of Harrisburg. Warriors with a 14-0 lead and looking for more. There's a snap. They're coming. Firing left. And the pass is knocked away, incomplete. They intended that one for Janiah Taylor in double coverage, but somebody knocked it away, and the Warriors turned the ball over on downs. And 86, Stephanie Gray out of Marietta from State College High School made the play to give Harrisburg the ball again.
Yeah, if she would have completed that pass, it would have been good for a first down there, and the Warriors would have continued the drive. But unfortunately, she dropped that pass. The defense was there. It was a good, well-thrown ball placed, exactly where you wanted it, over the shoulder, just beyond the defense's reach. but she couldn't come down with that pass.
Well, let's not forget, too, it was in double coverage. That would have been a difficult catch there. So, but whatever the case is, she gave a good effort, but the Warriors end up turning the ball over on downs, and the Harrisburg Havoc will have the ball at their own 38-yard line. So, 1st and 10 as Bianca Santos comes back out. Let's see how they line up this time. A receiver on each side. Looks like three wide slot left. They're going to go modified here. And Bianca making sure that the number is correctly 11 on the playing field. And maybe it wasn't. Last second substitution here. Oh goodness. Well, maybe they heard us there. But anyway, 1st and 10 from the 38. Here's a pitch at the
Fumble.
And that's recovered. And it's going to be returned to the end zone. That is Jacques Dorsey welcoming herself into the end zone. And, I mean, that pitch out just was not there. The whistle didn't blow. And Dorsey picked it up. And here we go with the music again. And you're going to be listening to this music here. Actually, yeah, we can do that after the extra point. The music you're hearing, and from what I understand, Warriors players are actually on the vocals on what you're hearing. So you'll hear it after the conversion. So Dorsey, a scoop and score, as you mentioned, Joey.
Yes.
Probably about 32 yards for a score to make it 20-0, and then they'll try the conversion to go along as well. All the points scored by the Warriors have been off turnovers, and that has been the downfall for the Havoc.
Yeah, that's it. That's why I said, the turnovers, mistakes like that can change the difference, make the difference in the game always. And the fact that, the Warriors are capitalizing on them now. That's the biggest thing. They capitalize on them, which is what you want to do on turnovers.
And the Warriors have only turned the ball over once. Harrisburg has turned it over 3 times, and that's how the 20 points have come aboard. Okay, so on the conversion, Drumgool is standing to the left of Sine Williams, and they're going to triple the far side. But before anything happens, the Havoc are going to call a timeout. So while we take a break, the conversion will follow early in the second. 20-0. Warriors over the Havoc. We'll come back in a moment.
So this is a great first date. Y'all look delicious. I mean, pretty. Sometimes they know me up in this joint. I pop a couple collars,
Hello. Can I take your order?
Yeah, I'll have
Yeah, you can take my order. Let me get 3 number 5s, 12, 8.
You got an ear infection.
7. That's what Marvin wants. Yeah.
Unleash the Rocky Mountain cold taste of
Okay, we are back here in New Brunswick following the timeout by the Havoc. The Warriors are going to try for the 2-point conversion. And finally get a little shadow here as the sun is starting to set slowly behind the northeast corridor. Here's a pass, and just in and out of the hands of Todd, the intended receiver, incomplete. So the conversion fails, and the Warriors with a 20-0 lead as they are about to kick off. Now, I don't know if we're going to get the yeah, why don't we do this? Why don't we get the Warrior voices in again? And that's the 3rd time we've only played it twice.
That's the crowd.
Well, I go figure that, of course, the motto for the Tri-State Warriors this year has been be bold, be brave, and be better. Well, they've been all three today so far with a 20-0 lead. And, of course, that's another Queen Jeanne touchdown we forgot to mention. Needless to say, we'll see if the Warriors can keep up the pace here. Yeah, we're going to try and fix the screen on a couple of bits here. Don't mind the glare on the screen. Yeah, I do see it says Candy Renee 88 there. But I don't know if that is somebody. Oh, that's my friend. So obviously, shouts to Jacqueline Todd, I guess, is the 88, because we don't have an 88 on the Harrisburg Havoc side. So nice to see. Just nice to see people picking up here. Brittany Singleton has checked in. Says Williams out there slanging. Well, Sine has definitely done that, throwing 2 touchdown passes already and a 2-point conversion. So, and of course, shouts out to Seda Simon checking in, rooting for the Harrisburg Havoc. So, Hall of Fame James rooting for Harrisburg, of course, today. So those of you along 83 and the Harrisburg area along the Turnpike, thank you so much for joining us here on HSG Network, Women's Football Alliance. And, of course, we're dealing with the glare above the Northeast Corridor here in New Brunswick. All right, here we go with the kickoff. Taken, okay, about the 30-yard line. Went through the hands of the returner, who will head to the 35, has a little room, crosses the 40, and might get as far as the 45-yard line. The glare makes it very difficult to see what the numbers are, especially along the far side of the field. But that is Lee Crump on the return. Down 20-0. She is not giving up. It's still early in the second quarter. According to the clock, it's unofficial, 10:36 till halftime.
She's been doing well on the return. She's been getting some good returns back for her team. And with the good position of the, good field position for the Harrisburg. But, let's see if they, mentally can stay in this game now, because mentally they've been out of it. They had too many turnovers. They just got to, focus here and put a good drive together, because this game's totally – it's not out of it. We're not, they're not out of it yet, but they just need a couple of plays, make a few plays, no mental mistakes, no turnovers, and they'll be all right.
And no standing around while the play is going on. That was the result of the last touchdown, which, of course, the lady ended up trying to catch a option play, went behind her. Instead of picking it up, she stood there, and all of a sudden, here comes Dorsey, picks it up, 32-yard scoop, and score later. It's 20-0. But now back behind the helm is Bianca Santos in the shotgun, sending a receiver in motion to the left. And now a handoff up the middle. This one is Kaylee Thomas. Not going to get much. In fact, she may only get to the 45-yard line. That's so, maybe a half a yard. So,
once again, that defense from the Warriors, they are stepping it up again. They're not allowing anything. They're trying not to give up too many yards, at least in this half. Let's hope they can continue this pressure and this form of defense here. They're swarming to the ball every single play they're swarming to the ball.
Leslie Ann Trenta might have been the one that carried that one. So that will end up being maybe about a foot. So 2nd and 10 from the 45-yard line. Santos again, the shotgun. A little bit of a shorter of a shotgun there. Takes it. And now an inside handoff again, breaking one tackle and trying to get more over. That's Kaylee Thomas again, getting 2 to the 47-yard line. But she's not giving up, but now the Warriors are realizing, wait a minute, this is the same play. We got to get over there. And that is working in the defense's favor.
Yeah, once again, that left side of the Havoc's offensive line, they're finding something there. They're blocking and they're, giving that back a few yards. She's hitting the hole quick enough, but, the linebacker – unfortunately, keeps stepping up and making a play, 2-3 yards downfield. But, it's still positive yards. It's still, positive game. And, you don't want to have any mental lapses here. You want to be able to control the ball, hopefully get a first down out of this.
So 3rd and we're going to say 7. They're going to spot the ball right outside the 48-yard line. Late break of the huddle as Bianca Santos will stand in a more traditional shotgun. Back to the left. It'll be basically a spread format. Bianca is back, throws, and is that a catch or no? No, they ruled it incomplete. The far side official said it hit the ground, so it is incomplete. So that'll force a 4th and 7. And you wonder if maybe the sun is having something to do with the line of sight for these receivers. As you can see, and we apologize for the view, no, it is not the Death Star coming from out and trying to put out a white laser onto New Brunswick High School. It is just bad glare for this time of evening.
Yeah, this sun is horrible right now, and it could be causing a problem for her, but you know, they should have went back to that run play. They could have gotten a few more yards, but I'm glad that she tried to pass.
Well, they're going to try one more time. 4th and 7 from the 48-yard line. Here's Santos back to pass. Has some time. Now the pocket collapses. Going to throw left side, and it's a little bit short, incomplete. I think it was just a little underthrown, and the receiver tried to come back and then just fell down. That was that looked to be I might have been Rachel Pastrana out of Lancaster, who went to Harrisburg Community College. Couldn't quite come down with it, but the Warriors get the ball after the Havoc turned the ball over on downs, but they are still giving it what they can.
She tried to adjust to the ball and get back, but she just couldn't get there quick enough. It wasn't enough. The ball was thrown well, just a little underthrown, actually, I should say. But she tried to make an adjustment and get back to the ball. But defense was there anyway, so she would have. It was a good play.
Like I said, it was a little underthrown. It was a good attempt. It was just a little bit underthrown. And if the receiver had cut back, probably could have had a first down there. But didn't quite work out, so we continue on as the Warriors have 1st and 10 from the 48-yard line of Harrisburg. Sine Williams, who's had 2 touchdown passes already, lines up with the spread here. Back to the right. Back to pass. Lobbing left. And it's a one-hopper incomplete. They went for a broadhead along the far sideline. That didn't quite work out. So incomplete, and it's 2nd and 10.
The defender was there too, so you never know if that pass would have been caught, whether she would have been able to get upfield and turn upfield for positive yards. I mean, you might have gotten 1 or 2 out of it, but it was a good play by the defense also.
And I think, too, that they're trying to get more people involved, and that's what I think the Warriors are trying to do, up 20-0 at the moment. Clock says 7:45 till halftime. Remember, official time on the field. They keep the spread formation back to the right of Sine Williams on 2nd and 10. She'll take it, goes back, lobs right. Pass almost was intercepted. Oh, my goodness.
Wow.
Just went in and out of the hands.
I was just about to say that. The Havoc needs something special to happen on this defense. They need one click, one play. That would have been it. That would have lit a fire, I think, underneath this Havoc team. And they would have come back, and, you know, they can be able to get back into this game somewhat here.
What a tough break. Rachel Pastrana was closest to the ball, and it just went in and out of her hands. If she grabs it, she pulls an Antoinette Wise and gets a pick 6.
That would have been something. Like I said, the Havoc needs something to happen here. They need something. They need a big stop, turnover of some sort to be able to get back on offense and hopefully get a play and score this half at least. They need to come out with a score this half. That would have been a big play for them there if they would have been able to get that.
And that would have given them some life, too.
Yep.
But in the meantime, 3rd and 10 for the Warriors. They're at the Harrisburg 48-yard line. Last-second substitution as Broadhead comes on. We'll go to far side. Let's see what Williams does. We're going to triple the left side, 4-receiver set. Let's see what Williams does. Been mostly shotgun for her. She'll take the snap. They're coming. And she is going to go down. Down she goes for a sack back at her own 48-yard line.
And there's the first sack for Havoc. For the Havoc, I've been praising this offensive line the whole game, how they've been holding their own and maintaining a good pocket and, good pass protection for her. And this time, it didn't happen for her.
Well, at least it's a consolation. Rachel Pastrana comes in with the sack. She couldn't come through with the interception, but she comes back, plays, and gets a big sack and forces the Warriors to punt. So for Harrisburg, they will get the ball back. So if anything, maybe Harrisburg is finding something along the Warriors' offensive line which they can exploit.
It's a possibility. I know they came with a blitz on that play, so they had 2 linebackers coming there. So that might have been it. They weren't able to pick it up quick enough.
All right, so the Warriors will punt. They do have a returner back at the 26-yard line. Let's see if they get a good snap. That's really critical here, making sure The snaps are good. That was a little bit of a problem with that last week. A very high snap, but the punt is away and directionally away from the return. Grabs it at the 27-yard line and doesn't go any further. And guess who's in again? Jacqueline Todd with the tackle. The return tried to get around, but Todd was right there and said, "Oh no, you don't."
Todd is having a great game this evening here with receiving passes and touchdowns and making tackles on special teams. That's great.
She's been effective in all three phases of this game
That is
so
correct.
far.
Offense, defense, and special teams. That is absolutely right. That's what you want.
And considering what they went through last week, this is obviously a 180 in comparison to this time last time when New York played them, and just nothing went right. Seems like mostly everything is going the Warriors' way today as we're nearing the halfway point of the second quarter. So for Harrisburg, Santos is back. Ball spotted to 27. They go with a regular spread. On 1st and 10, takes it, lobs up the middle, and the pass. There were two receivers there and one defender, and all three of them knocked it down, ends up going incomplete.
The Warriors went with a blitz on that last play to get a little more pressure. It rushed her a little bit, but the receiver should have been able to come down with that pass there. Defense was there, but the receiver should have been able to come down. She touched her hands. She should have been able to catch that one.
That'll make it 2nd and 10 from the 27-yard line. And I wouldn't be surprised if they tried going that middle play again. I mean, they've worked successfully with Kaylee Thomas. I wonder if they'll try it again maybe from the other side and try and confuse them a little bit. It really all depends on how the execution goes with their offensive line against the Warriors' defense. So on a modified, 2nd and 10. This is going to be a pass, and it's going to be incomplete. Took a long time to develop. It was intended for Crump, but Wise knocked it away, and it forces a 3rd and 10.
It was good defense by the Warriors. Also, they were there. The cornerback number 2 was there on a Wise. She played a good good defense on her there. Didn't allow her to catch that ball. So it was a pretty good thing there.
And remember, Wise, we mentioned, first team All-American for the Tri-State Warriors, along with Jacque Dorsey, who's also a first-teamer as well from the Women's Football Alliance this year. So congratulations again to those two for getting that first-team honor. 3rd and 10 from the 27-yard line. And this time the line modified, and they'll spread it out. Santos in the shotgun, or somewhat of one, taking it. Looking, has time, waiting, might run, does run, flag down probably for holding, and gets pushed out. She gets pushed out bounds to the 35-yard line. Definitely a hold, so it is coming back.
Once again, the defense was there. I think what happened that last play was that the defensive end might have got caught inside and got hooked and then wasn't able to maintain a position on the outside, which allowed the quarterback, Santos, to get outside and get the yardage. But unfortunately, there was a hole, which might have been why she was able to get outside.
Yeah, she was able to have some room to run, and that's why the official was right there throwing the flag behind the run, because to the official, that was an obvious hold. So it's going to be 10 yards probably from the spot of the infraction. So instead of 4th and 2, the Warriors have decided to push them back, and they will finally spot it about the 18-yard line. So it's going to be a 10-yard from the previous spot. So 3rd and 20 coming up for the Havoc. I mean, they had a nice play, but when penalties tell you, they're usually daggers to drives. And that might have been the case here. So 3rd and 20, they're going to spot the 17. Here's Santos back, has some time, now being chased, and then she's going to try running it again, crossing the 20, and it gets knocked out of bounds about the 25. So she's able to get 9 on the play to 26, but still. Oh, I'm sorry, that was Crump. I beg your pardon. They went Wildcat that time, and I got bitten because I didn't see the formation. But then again, with the way the glare is, it's almost impossible to see numbers. But that was a nice try by Crump getting some positive yardage, and that will at least force Harrisburg to punt and try and pin the Warriors back. But do you think they punt here, Joe?
I don't think so. They haven't punted all game, and we'll see. We'll see what they come out with. Looks like they're going to try to punt.
I thought they did it like once or twice earlier.
Yeah, they got a penalty, and they were able to.
Well, it's not a punt. It's a fake, and now it's going to be a run to about the 30, and that's going to be it, to the 32, 33. I mean, she actually got as far as the 35, still fell about 2.5 yards short. Crump again tried the foolery, and unfortunately fell about 3 yards short. And the Warriors will take over at around the 35 of the Havoc. That was an interesting play call, though.
I thought it was, too. I thought they were going to punt. Looked like they were in a punt formation with the back really deep, but it was just snapped to the up back, and she just took off running with it, and she was able to get a good amount of yards, but not enough to get a first down. The Warriors defense realized what was going on and stepped up and made a play on that.
And looks like Crump is shaken up. Now, I don't know if anything has to do with possible shall we say, like football cramps, heat cramps, anything like that. I had to be careful. It could be a whole bunch of things, but Crump is the one that is being attended to at the moment. Hopefully it is nothing serious. So the Warriors at least will get the ball on down. So you think we should take a little break here? Actually, you know what? Actually, let me just do this real quick. Now, obviously, we have Reggie Raymond, who's the chairman of the Tri-State Warriors. Now, actually, you know what? Why don't we do Richard Harrigan first, one of the co-owners, along with L.B. Robinson. Now, Richard Harrigan, he's out of Brooklyn, New York originally. And he lives in Franklin Park now. He has for the last 6 years. He's the father of Najee, Tyron, and Asias, 3 sons, 32, 29, and 28 respectively. And he's big with the civil engineering and civil construction. He's senior inspection at VRX. He's done a lot of things here. Co-owner and CEO of Rasco, which is a privately owned engineering company building affordable and disaster-resistant homes and facilities in impoverished counties. Also the co-founder and the CIO at Boss Tech, which is a technology and sports-focused social networking company. He was the head coach of the New York Sharks for 5 years, and in 2019, coach of the Philadelphia Phantoms. So, as we have a little bit more of a delay, we'll mention other ones as we go about here. Actually, as we continue on, why don't we give the other co-owner, which is LeBryant Robinson, also known as LB, who is a co-owner and defensive coordinator. Now, he's from near Route 70 out in Manchester, New Jersey, from Delaware State University, which he received a full scholarship for football, and he received numerous awards for his play on the field. Now, his memorable moments, I was a freshman in high school then. 1987, when he was selected to the Sheridan Black College All-American First Team. In 2011, was inducted into Delaware State University's Hall of Fame. So, a very prestigious career for L.B. Robinson. So, it goes back a long way. He knows his game, no question about that. All right, so the Warriors with the ball 1st and 10 at the Harrisburg 35-yard line. For once, Sine is under center. And this is going to be a handoff. Turn around the other way. That's Broadhead. Broadhead crossing the 30, crashing to the 25, and then pushed out of bounds at the 21-yard line. I would have to say that was Latasha Gushnar out of Carlisle, who went to IUP. Made the stop, but not before a 14-yard pickup by Broadhead, and the Warriors on the edge of the red zone again with a 1st and 10.
Yeah, it looked like the defense just got caught there in the wash, the end and the linebackers, one of the linebackers anyway, the inside backer. The outside backer was able to get out, but she didn't have a good angle on that play, and she was able to wind up getting a first down on that, play. And the corner managed to come up afterwards and make a play on that.
So the Warriors, as the clock is at 4:34 till halftime, we now have it back on the screen. Taking their time, seeing what they want to do for the next play. Ball spot at the 21 of Harrisburg. They're already up 20-0, looking for more. Sine Williams, again under center. She was in the shotgun for most of this first half, and now I guess the head coach saying, hey, let's get you a few plays under center and see how this works. And now Sine will give it to Broadhead again. Will cross the 15 and plow her way down to about the 13, maybe the 12. Going to be a little short of a first down. Broadhead has had the last 2 carries for about 23 yards. and gets it down to about the 12 in the red zone.
Good change of pace here where they went to the run. They're going to the run now as opposed to going to the pass and trying to, I guess, at this point, utilize the clock, trying to burn more clock off at this moment. The defense is not playing well. The linebacker, I don't know, got caught in the wash on that last play. So,
well, now I'd had to figure that there's been a lot of pass stuff which has worked successfully for the Warriors in the first half, and now they want to try and establish more of the run. So, in a way, it's kind of reverse. Usually you do the run to set the pass up, but especially in the last 20, 30 years, it's kind of like in reverse. You do the pass to set up the run, and that's what the Warriors are doing right here.
That is correct. Yes.
So, it'll be 2nd and a yard from the 12-yard line. This time Williams back in the shotgun. Back the pass. Will lob it for the end zone, but well short that time. Incomplete. It looked like they were trying to get to Troy again that time. She does have a touchdown reception, but I guess the communication was a little bit off here, and it forces a 3rd and a yard.
It seemed to be that's what happened, where she ran possibly the wrong route, but the defense was all over there. All the receivers were covered very well. I mean, she had good time in the pocket, but still by that, the defense was all on everything. So I don't know if she would have been able to complete that pass.
Well, they're taking Broadhead out on this 3rd and a yard, giving her a short break here. But we'll see what Sine Williams does as she comes back onto the field. Coaching staff trying to get her a good 3rd and a yard play. I would have to say try doing the run and kind of go straight up the middle. But you might want to try one of like fullback dives if that's applicable.
That might be possible here because they did run the ball well the last couple of times. So they might want to try that again.
Well, we'll see if they do.
And they came out with a fullback again.
I wouldn't be surprised they go with her on this 3rd and a yard. Extra.
Nikki Joseph.
Well, let's see what happens. They do give it to her, and we'll see where they spot it. And this tug of war looks like, based upon where the officials are, she got the first down because they're going to give her like the 11-yard line. So forward progress helps out, and Nikki's able to get 2 for a first down.
Yeah, she was able to push through that line and be able to get that first down. And she didn't need much, but the Havoc defense didn't get any penetration. They all stood up and they were able to get pushed back. So that's why she was able to get that first down.
And it's also she comes out right away, and Broadhead comes right back on the field. So kind of like more of a specialty 3rd down play.
I would say so. Yeah, I would say so. There was like a little thunder and lightning there, right? This young lady here, Nikki, she's got a couple of carries here where she's got some positive yards, so she's doing well.
All right, so they'll spot the ball at the 11. It is 1st and 10. They still can get another first down without scoring. They'd have to get probably just inside the 1-yard line in order for that to happen. Sine will be in the shotgun. They go spread here with a back to the right. And we'll see where Sine dishes the ball to this time. She awaits the snap. There it is. Going back, rolling right, taking a shot at the end zone and overthrowing the receiver incomplete. I think she went for Troy again. Ends up going incomplete. Again, might have been a communication issue.
That's what it looked like. There might have been a communication issue. It looked like she was supposed to run the corner, the post corner. She went inside. She ran a regular post. So, I don't think the defense was ready. If she would have ran that post, I think she would have been wide open for that touchdown.
Well, interestingly enough, the Warriors call time. I don't think there's a 2-minute warning here, but whatever the case, let's take a short break. Just under 2 minutes till halftime. 20-0. Warriors over to Havoc. We'll come back in just a moment.
I was all for it from the beginning, secretly.
I told her that, if you join, you're in it. She's fast for her age, and I said, look, if they can't catch you, then they can't tackle you.
We, believe it or not, found an extra small pair of Zenith pads, and I was like, hey, we're going to get these.
Zenith just fits better. They love it.
Touchdown, come on!
All right, back here in New Brunswick, under 2 minutes left here in the first half. Warriors knocking on the door again, 2nd and 10 from the Harrisburg 11. Already up 20-0. 2 touchdown passes by Sine Williams and a scoop and score by Jacques Dorsey. I'll get it. Who was able to bring it back 32 yards, and those have been the only points of the second quarter on defense. And, of course, the Warriors have forced 3 turnovers on Harrisburg, which have resulted in all 20 of the Warriors' points. So let's see what Sine Williams does here on 2nd and 10 from the 11. Back to the left this time. Sine. Oh, drops the snap and has to take a knee and go down to 16. So the snap didn't quite get there, so she had to quickly drop down and lose 5 yards on the play.
Yeah, she mishandled the ball, but the defense was back there. I think even if she would have gotten the ball cleanly, it might have been a tough play for her because the defense was already on top of her. As soon as that ball got to her, they were there already. So
probably would have had to go with a broken play draw and try and get a couple of yards back, but instead she loses 6 back to the 17, and it's 3rd and 16 as Sine takes the snap. We'll try one, and the pass is intercepted. Here goes Harrisburg the other way, crossing the 30, crossing the 40, and we'll go all the way down to about the 47. And Sine Williams, the quarterback who throws the interception, ends up making the touchdown-saving tackle.
That was awesome. That was awesome. The defense, the defender, the defender there came and undercut that route. It was a little underthrown, and she read that play cleanly. And that's how you want to read it. You want to read it like that. You want to make that play and take off and get as far as you can with that. You know, we're only got a minute left in this quarter or in this half. You know, that might have been the spark. You know, maybe they can bring that out in the second half and come back with that momentum and see what they can do.
That was Latasha Gushnar with the interception. Second turnover of the game for the Warriors, and this one's big because Harrisburg now is their own 48-yard line. They have 2 timeouts and unofficially 1:09 left till the half. If they score before the half, remember they get the ball to start the second half. So this could be a 2-for-1 deal, and worst case scenario could be 20-16 by the time the Warriors get the ball back. Outside of the opening play, Harrisburg hasn't really moved the ball, but let's see if that changes. It's going to be an option play that goes the wrong way, and waiting for the ball. It's still loose, picked up by the Warriors, and there's going to be another scoop and score, and it's Antoinette Wise this time putting it in the end zone. For this time she made sure she scored and didn't go out of bounds or have a penalty or anything like that. So, again, a botched option play, and the Warriors take advantage of it.
That's an example of the Harrisburg shooting themselves.
There goes the song again. Hey, they've been owed this a lot, no question about it. And I wonder if they're going to have that on Spotify after the game is over. They could. That's not a bad track, and I've only heard 20 seconds of it.
Well, like I said earlier, Harrisburg, they wind up shooting themselves in the foot again. They get a great play on the defense, get momentum working for them. They could have taken all of this into the half and came back, hopefully fired up for the second half. And here they come and they do this option play, which they had no success earlier with, and turn over the ball again.
And that's a tough break for Harrisburg because they made a great play on defense that Latasha Gushnar could have returned it, but Sine Williams with great presence of mind making the stop on the interception. All of a sudden, one play later, turned the ball back. Wise decision by Netta to pick it up, and it's another scoop and score, the second of this quarter. Dorsey was the first one. Wise was the second. Now rolling around for the conversion. Here's Sine looking, and going to run out of room at the 6-yard line. So the conversion fails and ends up being 26-0 in favor of the Warriors. And this is something that they really haven't been used to this year. And this is completely different. It's like, how do we handle the success? I guess just keep going.
You keep going. That's right. I mean, on that last play, I didn't think, the defense was kind of, not fooled as much, on that play, but she wasn't. You shouldn't have an opportunity to make that play.
Well, again, tough break for Harrisburg, but they still have 48 seconds, and we'll see how they do on the return. As once again, the glare here through the press box here at New Brunswick High School. I mean, not much you can do. I mean, this is what Mother Nature provides sometimes.
That's it.
But, I mean, what have you seen with the Warriors in this first half? I mean, may not necessarily be a perfect half, but they've been able to be opportunistic with what they've been given.
They have, and they had a good combination of run pass. That first half, they threw the ball well that first quarter and some of the second, and then they came out with the run afterwards. But their biggest thing was taking advantage of those turnovers and scoring points with those turnovers, taking that opportunity, taking advantage of that.
All 26 points have been off turnovers.
All 26. Yep. That's once again, like I said, Harrisburg is kind of light on the sideline. It could be a question of fatigue for setting in, but at this point, you take it how you can at the moment.
Well, it's the only thing you can do right now, and try and end with something positive here in the first half. As the Warriors kick things off, taking on one bounce, live ball, and through the fingers at about the 20-yard line, trying to get through one tackle, does, but we'll have to take it out of bounds at about the 24-yard line. That was Rachel Pastrana, who was the one that had the return. But for Harrisburg, they will begin at the 25-yard line, 1st and 10. And, I mean, for the Warriors, they've been able to adjust to what Harrisburg has. But you got to remember, the plays you call kind of all depends on what personnel you have, and maybe that has been a big difference in this game as to why the Warriors have been so successful.
That definitely could play a factor in it because, I mean, they don't have too many people on the sideline, so maybe, that would be something that you can consider happening here. But they've had some success with the slot receiver getting behind the linebackers in that first half and completing a few passes that way and almost completing a few more. That if they went back to that, they may have a little more success and at least moving the ball and sustaining drives.
Well, they're not going to have very many plays left here in the first half, and of course, they'll have to regroup. They'll get the ball to start the second half, just as a reminder. But for quarterback Bianca Santos, remember, they got off to a nice start, but since then the Warriors have been pretty much all over Harrisburg except for a couple of running plays, and you can only go to the well all so often with what you have. But again, like I said, personnel could have something to do with that there. All right, and here's a pass along the side, and it is caught. Look at this. Crossing down to the midfield stripe. That is Rachel Pastrana at quarterback, and she just threw a 25-yard completion, and Harrisburg calls a timeout. Lee Crump with the reception. How about that one? That's a way to spark your offense.
That was a great play. Once again, like I said, they got behind the linebackers in front of the safety. The ball was thrown perfectly well. The great catch and great run afterwards. That's exactly what I was just talking about.
Well, even though Santos has struggled, Pastrana has come in and done a very nice job. I mean, that was a nice throw on the part of Crump, and we might be seeing more of that combination in the second half.
That's a possibility. That would be a good possibility.
Well, you got to go with whatever works, and it's a matter of the defense trying to adjust to those new plays that they're not ready for. And, of course, last week against New York, they literally chiseled the defense for the Warriors, but that was then. We're dealing with now, and for the Warriors, now they got to try and make a stop and make sure Harrisburg does not have any momentum going into halftime. If Harrisburg scores, that's a positive for them. And remember, they'll get the ball to start the second half, as I mentioned before.
Yeah, so that's true. Harrisburg hasn't moved. Harrisburg hasn't done anything offensively as of yet until this moment here. They completed a few passes, but this is the biggest pass that they've completed as of yet. So we have to see what they come out with now. Let's see what the coach is designing up here. 1 or 2 plays to get into the end zone. Maybe they'll have an opportunity to do something. But if memory serves us right, we may have just another turnover here. Let's see who's back on the center now.
That's the key, and I don't know if they've alternated centers. So, all right. So once again, Pastrana in a modified here. They'll triple to left here on first down from the 48. Oh, no, they went with Crump and a Wildcat. And And now she ends up pushing her way down to about the 48 in her own territory. So the Warriors are ready for it. And I think now the Havoc, I think, is going to use their final timeout of the half with 15 seconds left. So they're trying some different personnel things to confuse the Warriors, and the Warriors have been up to most of this.
Yeah, the defense wasn't too surprised. They were able to get a good rush on that last play there. Havoc had the offensive line from Havoc didn't block anybody. It looked like everybody was there. So yeah, so we were just trying to see if the Havoc can do something here, if the offensive line can manage and get some protection, and maybe we can get a Hail Mary type play out here. You never know.
Just so you know that at halftime, stay with us as we will have a special interview with General Manager Carrie Maybank of the Tri-State Warriors, who will join us once this first half comes to an end. And definitely some good things in regards to what he's been doing with his Tri-State Warrior team, trying to get them involved with the community and a whole bunch of other things. So we'll see what he has to say in regards to how things have progressed here in this first half. I mean, this is a position where in this season they really haven't been very much, but this is very, very refreshing to see if you're a Tri-State Warriors fan. Even if you can't make it to New Brunswick for the game, if you're watching on YouTube today, courtesy of HSG Network and the Women's Football Alliance, I'm sure there's some smiles going on. And if you're watching, subscribe to HSG Network, as here's a pass, and that is incomplete. It was thrown right into, basically in the eyes of the receiver going downfield. Crump, the intended receiver. So 8 seconds left, and it'll be third and long. Just to let you know, here on HSG Network, here on YouTube, please subscribe to us. We've got lots of other things going on. We're going to have a busy June up ahead with some events, so make sure you continue to check us out. HSG Network on YouTube. Please subscribe and continue to support our broadcasts. So now 3rd and 13 from the 48, and they're going to go another deep one right side, and I'm not sure who caught it, but the clock is going to run out for the first half. Oh, it ends up being intercepted. Janiah Taylor. So Taylor catches the interception, and that will put an exclamation point on this first half. So a very impressive first half for the Warriors. Your thoughts, Joey?
Once again, they came out. They capitalized on all of those plays there where, they capitalized on all the turnovers that they were able to get on. All of their points came back from those turnovers, which was great. That's exactly what you want to do. When you get turnovers in this game, you want to be able to capitalize and score, and you want your defense to play well. The defense has been playing lights out here for the moment, and hopefully the second half they can continue with that tenaciousness, defense coming out and doing what they need to do.
All right, well, our halftime score again, the Tri-State Warriors 26, the Harrisburg Havoc nothing. Come back with us in just a moment. We will have our interview with Carrie Maybank, the general manager of the Tri-State Warriors, in just a moment. Stay with us. We are back here at Memorial Stadium here in New Brunswick. Tom Wilkins here, along with General Manager Carrie Maybank of the Tri-State Warriors, as the Warriors lead the Harrisburg Havoc at 26-0 at the break. And Carrie, I got to tell you, this is something you haven't seen very much this spring, and it's got to put a smile on your face as you're explaining right now.
Absolutely. It's been a long time coming, but they've been putting in the work at practice and also, talking on film at home and on video, and it's starting to work out here.
What have you seen so far from Sine Williams here in this first half? I know she came off a rough week last week, but obviously a lot of confidence now, especially if the way the offense is played, and especially with the defense coming up big in the second quarter as they have.
I mean, more specifically, I just see a little better decision-making, holding on to the ball when no one's open, and running when necessary, and being decisive. When she sees someone open, quick release.
Now, as far as you are concerned, obviously you've had a lot of experience, and this is the inaugural season for the Warriors, which started back last September, if I'm guessing correctly.
Last October.
Oh, last October, rather. But my question to you is, what got you going of getting this team together, and what goals have you set in making this a successful franchise for its opening year? Even though it may not have been expressed on the field very much, what have you seen positively in the first few months of their existence?
Well, in particular, we understand the culture that we're trying to build because Coach Rich and Coach LeBryant have been to the championship before when they with the world with the Women's National Football Conference. So we expect that we can build a team and get back to that in the WFA here. But you know, the consistency of the practices and the film watching, I've just seen that their confidence has gone up, and you can see it in their eyes. They expect to win despite, you know, some of the setbacks in the previous games, and you can kind of tell now. They expect it to happen.
Now, Carrie, obviously you go back a month and a half ago when this team took the field for the very first time. Coming to this point now, is it what has been expected, or what things would you like to see, or have they been over the top with a few things, whether it be on or off the field?
Well, clearly the offense.
Actually, the ear flap. I'm sorry. We're trying to make sure we can hear the question here. But what have you seen so far? Just to repeat the question: the positives, the negatives. I mean, what hasn't quite shined yet in your opening season, and what has gone above your expectations as far as this opening year is concerned, whether it be on or off the field?
Well, one thing that it has been evident is that the defense has been playing pretty well. All the way up until the middle of the third quarter of every game, we're right there in it. And since we only have a few ladies and we're playing both ways, they tend to tire, and a lot of scoring is happening in the end of the third quarter and the fourth quarter. But for the most part, we haven't given up 14 points up until the middle of the third quarter yet. So, you know, we're seeing that, and so we expect them to wear down a little bit in the end of the third and the fourth because they're playing both ways. But they're just getting better and better and better. And obviously, it takes the offense a little bit longer to gel than it does the defense. And now you're seeing the offense starting to score.
What have the players, and we're talking to Carrie Maybank, the general manager of the Tri-State Warriors, what have you seen from your players as far as their community involvement in trying to not necessarily recruit the Warriors franchise, but also give back to the city of New Brunswick and surrounding areas?
Well, we had a great day maybe about 5 weeks ago at MetLife Stadium where the Giants and Jets play, and middle school and high school kids came out, and you know, we're teaching them how to throw. We had different stations for defensive backs, quarterbacks, running backs, and the community even got a lucky surprise. Eli Manning came out for an hour and a half to teach the young girls how to throw. So
That's
that was
fantastic.
Wonderful. And then Monday we'll be marching in a New Brunswick parade
for Memorial Day.
So you know, just embracing and engaging the community.
And I think it's so important, especially these days, and given the fact so many things globally and nationally are happening that are not necessarily going the right way, I kind of feel it's extremely important that people get involved community-wise, and that's where you have programs like the Warriors and all the other programs that are throughout this league and in other leagues throughout the nation to basically state importance of community in esprit de corps, being togetherness, whether it be on offense, defense, on or off the field. I mean, basically the teachings are be that role model you want to be for other people who want to follow in your footsteps the right way.
Exactly. In addition to those things that are going on, this summer there's going to be a flag football camp so that the young folks in the area can play flag football, so we'll be leading that up. And lastly, we have an internship program that we're just beginning. Myself and a few of us who are on the administrative side for the Tri-State Warriors went to Syracuse University, which is the #1 broadcast journalism school in the country. And
No surprise there.
And we're setting up an internship program so people are not just out here playing, but the community folks can learn how to get into broadcast journalism. And Kim, our communications person, is a graduate of the Newhouse School. So, they see people like Mike Tirico and Marv Albert and people like that on TV. And now the community, through us, are able to have people engage in that program and learn how to be broadcast journalists.
So, going at one last question as we finish the season up. What do you expect from the Warriors going forward, even if things turn out positively for the rest of the game?
I expect this game that, score a couple more times and just get that confidence going forward. This is a building block for next season, and next season we clearly expect to be in the playoffs.
Well, one step at a time, as I say. Kerry Maybank, General Manager of the Tri-State Warriors, thanks so much for joining us.
Pleasure, thank you.
And obviously, best of luck. Kerry Maybank, ladies and gentlemen, as we're at halftime, 26-0 in favor of the Tri-State Warriors over to Harrisburg Havoc. Let's catch our breath for a couple minutes. We'll come back for the second half in just a couple minutes.
biggest obstacles for Dakota with football, I feel like, is all of the injuries. He wasn't comfortable in the equipment that he had. From the start of when he got the pads from Zenith, he was a complete different kid.
He's seeing his development now. He's getting to the age where he's seeing his development and he knows what he's going to do to achieve it.
I love being able to watch him do what he loves. Zenith gave me that.
I have a secret. I'm done settling. Because this is my secret. No, really. I put it on once. No more touch-ups because this stick actually works. Secret has pH-balancing minerals, and it helps eliminate odor instead of just masking it. So no more T-Rex waves or covering up stinky pits when you're not cold. Pull it in close. Just trust me, Secret works.
At Serenity Nail Polish, our vision is to promote creativity, confidence, and self-expression for our leaders of the next generation. At Serenity Nail Polish, our mission is to provide all children and women access to a safer, healthier, chemical-free nail polish option. At Serenity Nail Polish, you are the creator, you are the brave, and above all, you are Serenity.
All right, we are back here at Memorial Stadium here on the New Brunswick High School campus, although not necessarily at the high school. But we're about ready to start the second half. The Tri-State Warriors, a tremendous first half, leading 26-0 over the Harrisburg Havoc. Just to recap real quick, 2 touchdown passes by Sine Williams, one to Jacqueline Todd, the other to Randy Troy, and then 2 scooping scores on defense in the second quarter. One of them by Jacque Dorsey and the other by Antoinette Wise, who has forced 3 of the 4 turnovers today by the Havoc. She intercepted a pass, almost scored, recovered a fumble, almost scored, and then the third time was the charm for her. So definitely a very nice game for her as the Warriors are about to kick off. By the way, Joey Pagan's with me, Howard Gabers on the controls. I'm Tom Wilkins, about to give you the play-by-play for the second half. And if you notice, the picture is much clearer because the sun has decided to hide behind a big wad of clouds. And that will help our eyesight, especially mine. So what do you think about the second half, Joey? What do you expect?
I think a little bit of the same thing from the Warriors here. You know, little passing, little running, and a lot of defense.
All right, well, here's the return, and this is Crump going down, crossing the 45 down to the 47. A good return by Crump, who obviously she's going to play hard for all 48 minutes. And I believe we got a new subscriber for HSG Network while we were at the half, if I'm not mistaken. Candy Renee, crazy shouts to her. Very happy you're enjoying this broadcast today here from New Brunswick. Also, a couple shouts out from my end. Pete in Feasterville check in, just about 2 hours east of Harrisburg. And my friend Jackie in Wisconsin also checking in as well. So crazy shouts to you guys. Thanks for your support. And please tell everybody about HSG Network on YouTube. Please subscribe. We got a lot of stuff coming up next few Saturdays in June, so don't want you to miss it.
Yes, hit that subscribe button, guys. That's what we want.
Well, don't be hesitant about it, Joe.
No, you got to hit it. We got to hit it. We need all of them. Standing in the booth, finally. I'm standing up.
Well, you're standing up, and I'm sitting, and hopefully I don't have a stain in the back of my shirt. Yes, let there be a picture. 1st and 10 for the 47-yard line for Harrisburg as we begin the second half of play. Good snap, and that's an incomplete pass. That was very close to being a lateral on the play. They went for Crump, and it just didn't quite get there. It was a little bit off. So Santos is back at quarterback, by the way, for Harrisburg. So we're trying to make sure we have everything all lined up here as we are getting ready for 2nd and 10 from the 48-yard line. All right, standing in the shotgun, a little bit of a different formation there. Back to pass, lobbing, and it looks like, that's a pass. I think it's a pass. Going down to about the 49-yard line. It looks like Seda Simon with the catch. Oh, no, it was Crump. I thought it was 11, but it turned to be number 1.
Crump. She's been all over she's been all over the field today, Crump, for Harrisburg. She's been doing a lot. So That she's catching passes out the backfield now is a good thing. But the defense wasn't fooled. They stepped up and made a play really quick on that. They had good reaction on that play there.
They've been reacting very well. And you have to remember, if you react quick enough and the other team doesn't, let's just say you're going to have a lot of success. And you can see by the scoreboard of what we're seeing today. On 3rd and 9, here's a pass, lobbing it and throwing it to the tent, incomplete. Obviously a lot of rush there. And it didn't make the line of scrimmage, so the officials, if they wanted to, could throw an intentional grounding foul. But the officials are going to discuss, and it'll end up being 4th down anyway. Now, I'll tell you, that rush that time by the Warriors was a very good one.
Everyone it would look like they had another blitz on, and the Harrisburg offensive line could not pick it up.
Yeah, they came running all the way. The officials chose not to throw intentional grounding, even though the ball didn't make the line of scrimmage. So here's the punt on 4th down. I think their 3rd of the game. It's Antoinette Wise picking up at the 24, run around the left sideline to the 40, has some return room, and is pushed out of bounds at the 46-yard line, knocked out by Megan Gerstenberg out of Grantville, who went to Northern Lebanon High School. And by the way, we want to mention the All-Americans again in case you missed it. Of course, the obvious two, Antoinette Wise, who has been all over the field, and Jacques Dorsey, the offensive tackle and defensive end. Shall we say those two on defense have a touchdown today? One apiece for them. So congrats to those first-team All-Americans and Jacques Dorsey and Antoinette Netta Wise, who has really been quite a spark for this Warriors team. We'll mention the 2nd and 3rd team again momentarily, but first, it'll be Warrior ball 1st and 10 from the 49-yard line. About a 24-yard return by Wise following the punt.
All right, let's see what we got here. 2-by-2 formations. Front pay.
And a deep throw that just went over the head of Wise, incomplete. That was a good try. Wanted to go for the jugular there, and it just was a little bit high.
Harrisburg did have a bit of a rush there. She was lucky to get that ball off. Just as she threw it, she was hit. So she got lucky on that one.
Well, forces an incomplete 2nd and 10. By the way, 2nd-team All-Americans, Dacia Broadhead, who we've seen a lot in this game, Randy Troy, who caught a touchdown earlier, Melissa Blaze, Mel, the tight end and offensive linebacker, she's also on that 2nd team, and Carrie McDonald, who unfortunately last week suffered that injury. Big Dog, obviously best wishes for a speedy recovery to her. She's on that 2nd team for the Women's Football Alliance. 3rd team we'll mention in a moment. 2nd and 10 from the 49-yard line as Williams lines up. And the shotgun back to the left. Takes a snap. There's another rush coming. Backing up. Sine in trouble. I think she might have lost the ball. And Harrisburg took it away at the 36-yard line.
There you go. They starting the second half off right,
And the recovery that time by Jennifer Dixon out of Middletown. Of course, she went to the Middletown area high school just outside of Harrisburg. So good play for her. The strip and snatch. And Harrisburg gets the ball back.
Once again, that's what you want on your defense. That they had an all-out blitz, it looked like, and the Warriors' offensive line didn't pick it up well at all. And they got in and they were able to get a strip on the ball and be able to recover. Once again, this is what Harrisburg needs. I mean, the score is 26-zip at the moment, but anything can happen here. They just need a little momentum going. This can be a change here. Let's see what they do with this now.
All right, Harrisburg at the Tri-State Warrior 36-yard line. Let's see what happens here on 1st and 10. Back to pass is Crump. Throws it into the hands of Wise, intercepted. And she goes back and I think steps out of bounds at the midfield stripe. They're going to say the 49-yard line. 5th turnover of the day for Harrisburg, and Wise has been in on 4 of them.
I tell you, she just played well there. She just sat in her zone where it was supposed to be, and the quarterback obviously did not see her, and she saw her.
Why don't we take a look at the replay, courtesy of Secret.
She drops back. She's on the receiver. There it is. She done the cutter right there. She kind of managed to get the ball off and then get upfield for a few yards. Well, once again, like I said, she was in the right position. She was in the right position. She just undercutted that route there and was able to make a play on the ball.
even though Tri-State's turned the ball over 3 times, that's the 5th turnover for Harrisburg, numbers that neither team would like, but lucky for the Warriors, they start over again, 1st and 10 from the 49. By the way, again, replays presented by Secret Deodorant, the official deodorant of the Women's Football Alliance. 1st and 10 for the 49. Under center this time is Williams. And they're going to go, Broadhead. And Broadhead is, he still was trying to bounce around a couple of tackles, ends up losing a yard as Harrisburg was able to close the pursuit down at the 48-yard line. Stephanie Stewart out of Harrisburg, she was the one with the tackle there.
She was able to stay holding on. I mean, she got around the end there, and she ran into a few Harrisburg players in the backfield and was able to shake 1 or 2 off, but not everyone, and get a yard out of it to keep the loss to a minimum of 1 rather than it being about a 4 or 5 yard play on the loss on the play.
And I was close to a horse collar tackle too, but at the same time. But also, let's consider that the play was very slow developing, too.
And once again, the defensive line was just standing around for a moment there. So was the offensive line at that point. No, you call it for now.
Well, how many call this one 2nd and 11? What do you see?
Are you going to end around with number 4 again? No, what a poor fake. She had me faked out with the ball there, but we got a sack by Harrisburg again. There's a flag on the play. Let's see. He calls a face mask.
Might have been on the tackle. Taryn Johnson McIver. What could have been a sack, but the way that Williams went down may have been an illegal yanking of the jersey.
It was a face mask.
Oh, I'm sorry. They did grab the face mask. Well, that would be similar to what I just mentioned a minute ago. But they do call a major face mask foul, which negates the sack, and it'll be an automatic 1st down for the Warriors. But Harrisburg, they're playing better. But again, those mistakes.
The mental errors are playing a factor in killing them at this moment. They're playing well again the second half. The defense is stepping up a little bit, but we have to see. These mental errors are, they come from fatigue also, right? Because the numbers are low. You're playing both ways. Mentally, you're not right. If you're so fatigued at the moment, it's hard for you to focus. So here we got, we got an offense. She's on shotgun 2-by-2 formation with the back behind her. See what happens. See what happens here. All right. She waits for the snap. There he goes. Drops back. Throws past to number 4. Oh, she just dropped that pass. She did not complete it. The receiver dropped it.
But I think it was Dacia Broadhead who was the intended receiver. I think the key to remember here is it was a lob pass, but I think she tried to catch and turn at the same time. And what happens a lot is you don't catch the ball that way.
That is correct. You are right. You are right. That is correct. She didn't try to catch the ball and then she tried to do both at the same time. She tried to catch and run at the same time, and that never works out well.
Establish first and then make the turn and try and get positive yardage. So on 2nd and 10, here's Williams being chased.
Another blitz again.
Got the try and throw, but she's able to get through a tackle and ends up getting a little bit of positive yardage, maybe a yard to the 37-yard line. So escaping the sack of Veronica Martinez out of Lancaster and Cecil Community College, she was the one who made the stop.
Once again, they had a lot of pressure on that backside of her. I'm not sure why the offensive line is giving up that much the play on that side. They were playing so well that first half, but once again, you got the lack of numbers here. And the score is 26-6. They may just be trying to figure that this is done already and not play as much as they did the first half. But Harrisburg is not giving up right now. They're trying to do what they can. They're looking to get on the scoreboard if they can.
And that's the key. You play all 48 minutes because you just never know what's going to happen.
That is correct. You never know.
3rd and 10 from the 37 as Williams in the shotgun. They spread the offense out. With the snap, looking, takes a shot right, pass is caught, and down to about the 32-yard line. That is Troy with the catch for a 5-yard pickup.
That was a good pass, good catch, by once again, the offensive line managed to sustain a good block here and hold the line of scrimmage for her to be able to complete the pass. And, it was an easy pass to complete. That out route is not a hard pass to throw for her. And, she's been doing well completing that.
Well, they're going to go for it on 4th and 6. But, Joe, you keep mentioning in regards to the teams. And, of course, in this world post-pandemic, we all know all the world's is short-staffed. And that includes football teams sometimes. And you've worked with teams that haven't had very many people. How do you go about a business like that? And we'll discuss more after this 4th down play. So we'll get your response to it. Williams in the shotgun. Got 2 receivers along the far side. Takes a snap, going to take a shot at the end zone, and it's going to be overthrown, a little incomplete. So the Warriors turn the ball over on downs. But getting back to what I was asking, Joey, when you're dealing with a shorthanded team, and I know you've had experience with it, what's it like for you, and how do you approach them?
It's not easy with the pandemic. You got, some people don't want to come out and participate in things like this because they're afraid of being, exposed to it. But, you have to have, the protocol set on your organization to ensure players and the fans and the staff that, everything is okay. You can come out, you can participate, you will be safe, and, we always test regularly for COVID and stuff like that, and it makes it a lot easier. Once you reassure both staff, players, and fans, you get a much better product out there and more participation in the organization and within the field.
And I was not aware of this. That Joey at one point was one of the victims of COVID, but hey, he's here.
Unfortunately,
he beat it.
Yes.
Hey, so many things can be COVID, but in reality, you're here, and that's all that counts. And you're well. That's all right. Well, here's a pitch out to Crump, who we've called quite a bit in this game, and I think they did a wildcat there, and it was good enough for a few yards. We'll see where they spot the football. But it's about a 3, maybe 4-yard pickup. I think they're going to say the 38. They're going to give her 5.
They can give her 5. Crump has been pretty much the offense and defense and special teams for Harrisburg this evening here. You know what I'm saying? She's been doing all that she can. She just needs a little more help, with the lack of turnovers. If they can maintain possession of the ball, it would be very nice. And they might be able to move it a little better. I think they should switch quarterbacks again and go back to the other young lady that was ending the first half.
Well, they may try, and I was about to say that you're talking about a Rachel Pastrana who has done well on defense, and she actually quarterbacked in the final couple minutes of the half, as you had brought up. And she does throw a nice football, but we'll see how else it plays out as Crump gets another carry, and she's going to get some more positive yardage, but she's going to be a little short of a first down to about the 41-yard line. And bringing her down is Jemiah Taylor.
Well, it was a good play by Jemiah Taylor. Once again, she was out there, playing linebacker, and she was able to read the toss and be able to get out there and cut her off before she could make a first down. So that was good on her part.
Okay, so it'll be 3rd and about 1.5 yards. Ball spot about the 42-yard line. And the sun, believe it or not, is peeking through the clouds here. I mean, hey, we got a different color laser this time.
The force is with us.
I hope so, but that was, 24 days ago?
Here we go.
All right, 3rd and about 1.5 yards. Let's see what their quarterback does this time. As Santos under center this moment here on 3rd and 1.5 yards. They go inside handoff. That's going to work for a first down to about the 45. So Harrisburg able to move the sticks and get a new set of downs. This time it was Leslie Ann Trinta out of Kaplan Career Institute. She was the one who got the 4-yard pickup.
They're having a little success running the ball now, which is good. They had a little bit earlier in the game, too. Not much. These kind of plays where she's just handing the ball off or a slight toss is what's been working. Controlling the ball and not putting her in bad positions where she's got to try to option and pitch that ball, which is where she's been having a trouble with all day today, Santos.
So the ball is at the 45-yard line. 1st and 10 for Harrisburg. They're on 45. Here's Santos. Is going to take a shot down the field.
Oh.
And it bounced off somebody and lands on the ground incomplete, and a flag comes down at the 40. We'll see what this one's about.
Well, the defense was there. The ball was a bit underthrown, so not sure if she was able to complete that, if anything. But, defense was there.
Well, unfortunately, there was a little bit of shielding of the football, so it's going to be pass interference against the Warriors. So that'll make another automatic first down for Harrisburg.
And Harrisburg is on the other side of the 50-yard line.
Well,
I believe that's the first time today that they got past midfield.
I think they were at the 36 at one point.
Oh, okay.
I'm trying to remember. But anyway, 1st and 10 from the 40. And we'll see what Santos does with this next snap. Back to pass, under a rush, and she got thrown back. She bounces off a player and is still running. And now she lost the football, and here come the Warriors this time. And it's Caroline Drumgood who's able to take the ball away, and Harrisburg turns the ball over for the 6th time, as it looked like Santos was trying to do too much, ends up having the ball stripped down, and Drumgold came around and was able to get to about the 38. Oh, I'm sorry. It was Crump who originally had and got stripped out. Now we have a shaken up Havoc player down about the 38-yard line. We'll see what this is about. And obviously, playing on both sides of the ball will definitely take the wind out of you a lot quicker in comparison. And that's what happens with a shortage of numbers. I believe that was Sharina Johnson, by the way.
She's up and walking off the field under her own power, which is a good thing. You don't want to see anyone get hurt here. You want people to, be able to get home after these games, and after participating in this game, and you're playing both ways, it takes a lot out of you. You definitely don't want to get hurt. All these women have to go back home to work and stuff like that. So
especially after last week. But anyway, with the Warriors, 4:16 left in the third, they have another possession. And Harrisburg, it looked like that was their most sustained drive so far this game, dating back to like the opening drive of the game, but ends up working a turnover, and here comes the Warriors again.
Right? Once again, they end up in the turnover. The mental mistakes. They start to sustain the drive, and then all of a sudden you get a turnover, and it ends everything, and now you're back on defense.
And speaking of mental mistakes, there we have a substitution violation against the Warriors, so that's going to back them up 5 yards. I think it was 12 women in the huddle, and that's a 5-yard penalty. Not realizing how many people were on the field for that play, so Taylor will leave, and it's 1st and 15. So it's funny you bring up mental mistakes, and then what do you know? The Warriors
have their own bit of mental mistakes there on their own.
All right, so 1st and 15. Here's Williams, back to pass. Going to go deep ball, and in double coverage, incomplete. Went for Troy. 2 defenders around. That was going to be a tough ball to catch, but they gave it a shot. It ends up being 2nd and 15.
Yeah, once again, Harrisburg has a good rush on the backside. Once again, not sure what the offensive line on that side is doing. They need to make sure that they keep the back to that side, because apparently that's where all the pressure's coming from. And if they shift the back over, they'll have a little more success in blocking that and maybe completing a pass downfield. But both defenders were there with Troy. It would have been a tough catch if she would have been able to catch that ball there.
So it's 2nd and 15, ball spot at the 33-yard line. I'm sure the offense wants to try and get a sustained drive and take some time off the clock and finish their opening season with a very positive result. They're on their way doing it, but there's still a full quarter and another 4:08 to follow. Here's Williams in the shotgun. She takes, backs up, and throws off her foot. And it ends up being intercepted. It was deflected off of Crump, and it lands into Stephanie Gray's hands at a State College High School. So Stephanie Gray with the interception, and Harrisburg gets the ball again.
Great defense. That's how you teach it. The tip play, in practice, right? You tip it up, and to your defensive player, the other guy on your team, and he comes down with the ball, and that's how you do it. That's great. And they had some pressure. They had some pressure from the defensive line again, but it was good.
And you got to consider, too, even though Sine has made some mistakes in this game, more positively, she has thrown a much better ball, been much more accurate, and the offense has clearly been much more on point in this game.
The offense has been moving the ball well, with the exception of a few mistakes, but she has been on point with her passes for the most part, and running the ball well, too. So, they've really turned it around this weekend.
Harrisburg with the ball at their own 48, 1st and 10. Looking to move everybody in place here. In the shotgun. Looked like there was movement before the pass, but here's a pass, and it is incomplete. In quarterback, and we had brought this up, Rachel Pastrana that time, and it was a high pass and was into a lot of traffic and was knocked down incomplete.
It was knocked down. The linebacker, number 57, got back there and was able to make a play on the ball for the Warriors.
We haven't called Melissa Blaze's name yet while in action in this game. All we've talked about is her being on one of the all team. And we forgot the third team. Nikki Joseph, defensive tackle, number 77. She's on third team, also known as Black Nasty. And number 8, Ashley Mathis, the running back, also known as Jet. She's in that third team bracket as well. I kind of neglected to mention now. I mentioned first and second. I forget the third.
Well, Nikki Joseph had a couple of runs on as a fullback.
That is correct.
She had a couple of carries, so she's been doing her thing this afternoon.
Especially in the first half. You are correct. 2nd and 10 from the 48. And this is a lateral. It's a live ball. It's going to be somebody ought to get it. It went past the Warrior. If it was scooped by the defender, he could have run all the way down Route 1 with it. It ends up missing, but Crump ends up recovering. Big loss on the play. That was a live ball with the lateral and ends up being a loss on the play rather than be another defensive score for the Warriors.
Todd had 6 points in her head. She was looking to pick it up and run at the same time and wasn't able to. Like you said, you need to secure the ball first, then turn, and then go. She tried to pick it up and run at the same time, and it didn't work out for her. She lost it, and Crump was able to recover.
Well, I think Wise has done so much. I mean, you have to remember, Harrisburg's turned the ball over 6 times, and Wise has recovered 4 of them. So, can't get them all, but gotta consider all she's done on defense today. Ends up being a loss of 8, 3rd and 18 from the 40. And this time, here comes Pastrana. Gonna try and run. Can't find anybody open. Does a stiff arm. Gets to the 45, down to the 46-yard line. Lisa Fisher. And I believe also Drumgool was on the tackle. So it ends up being a 6-yard gain, but forces a 4th and 12.
Drumgool came up really well. She realized that she was trying to roll out to her left, to her right, and she came up and made a play on that. She got stiffed on, but was able to still hold on and be able to make a play on that causing to turn over on 4th down. Now we'll have to see what they do.
Well, Harrisburg just used the timeout on 3rd down. So I guess we'll keep it here for a second. Actually, you know what? Why don't we take a break? 2:14 left here in the third. 26-0 in favor of the Warriors. We'll be right back in a moment. Back here in New Brunswick, Harrisburg just called a timeout, trying to discuss what they're going to do on 4th down. Now down 26-0, knowing that this is the last game of the regular season, I wouldn't be surprised if they tried something here to try maybe another razzle-dazzle play. They've tried a couple, and unfortunately they backfired, but eventually one of those plays are going to work.
I mean, you never know. He took the timeout to call another play. He might have designed something up there, something that they had in the back of the playbook and say, look, we're going to try this. Hopefully this will work and get us on the board. We can avert the shutout. So let's see what they come up with here. You got trips over to your right here.
Well, they definitely go with a 4-receiver set and all crunched to the near side. Going back the pass. And now reversing gear. There's the lob. Pass. Oh, it's incomplete. They had the idea. It was intended for Stephanie Gray, but it went right through her hands. The execution was good, but unfortunately for Gray, she just couldn't get it.
She couldn't get it.
And Harrisburg turns the ball over on down. But give a thumbs up to the coaching staff. That was pretty well executed. And I think we might get a secret replay out of this. Yeah, let's take a look at what happened here.
Here she gets the ball. Here, let's see. She drops back. So she drops back, rolls to her right, left, and then comes back, throws the ball over the middle. receiver, Jesse, she was wide open there. Just didn't get it. Looked like it was a little underthrown, and she needed to get down for the ball, and she didn't reach down. But, I mean, who's to say she would have gotten the first down out of it because the defender was right there, might have been able to make a play, and she probably would not have made a first down. But still, it's a positive gain. And, you know, you got to take that back and come back with it the next offensive series.
But I also think, too, I mean, she was running full speed. If she catches it, she turns the corner, and she may have a first down there. Now, meanwhile, here's Sine Williams throwing one in the direction of Janiah Taylor, incomplete. So, and Taylor shaking up slightly. I think the ball might have went behind her a little bit, and that might have been the reason for it. But under 2 minutes left here in the third, and the Warriors look like they're going to go a little up-tempo despite the clock stoppage. Nicole Arneo just went off. Let's see what happens here. The rookie out of Marlboro just taking a breather, and now they're bringing Black Nasty and Nikki Joseph as a wideout. Let's see if they go towards her. They do not, and the pass ends up going incomplete.
She was wide open. That would have been nasty if she would have completed that ball to her there.
Well, that was Taylor again that time. That's 1-7 short, but it is an incompletion. But I think she was a little bit out of position there too, trying to reach over to grab it, just couldn't get it.
Right, she tried to reach back for the ball, but Williams had her mind and her focus on one side of the field and missed the nasty on the other side. Missed the nasty on the other side.
Oh, goodness.
She missed her. She didn't see her out there. If she would have, that would have been interesting to see how that would have worked out.
I'll tell you what, Jan Jackson's really happy about all these mentionings here. But anyway, 3rd and 10 from the 46-yard line. Williams again to shotgun. They go spread here. She takes the snap, rolls right, looks, lobs, and the pass knocked down incomplete. They went in the direction of Melissa Blaze, who hasn't really had very many touches in this game, but good defense by Harrisburg. Despite being down 4 scores, they're still playing.
The defense is still playing. They're trying not to give up any more points here. They got a good play by the linebacker on that to deflect the ball, knocked it away there. So now it's 4th and 10. Let's see what the defense can come up with here. If they're going to dial up a blitz or what, or are they just going to play it safe and sit and try to cover on this one? I mean, I personally would come with a little pressure to make it, to rush Williams. Hopefully she can make a mistake and, you can get even a turnover, even though you're going to get a turnover on downs if they don't. But an interception would be great momentum turn here.
Well, they break the huddle, and we'll see what play they decide to design here on 4th and 10 from the 46-yard line. I mean, you're up 26-0. I mean, I wouldn't mind punting and trying to pin the Harrisburg team deep at this point. But it's the last game of the year, and I figured, hey, let's see if we can try and get a 4th down play out. All right, here we go with the snap on 4th down. Here's Sine back, looking, gonna lob one deep, and it's caught! How about that? It's Jacqueline Todd, and it's welcome to the end zone. A 46-yard touchdown strike. And on 4th and 10, Jacqueline Todd brings it in for her 2nd touchdown of the game. And I guess we can go back to the music feed.
Well, that was a great passing catch by Williams and Todd again. They connected one more time, which was really awesome here. Now they're going to go for a 2-point conversion again.
Well, they don't have a kicker, so I don't think they have much of a choice. But, well, they could try. But anyway, they go with a conversion, 3rd touchdown of the game for Sine Williams. And they're going to line up a triple on the left side for the conversion. 4 receivers set. Williams will await the snap, and let's see what magic she can pull off. Back to pass. Gonna lob to the left. There's a woman open, and there you go, the 2-pointer. And that was Randy Troy. And the 2-pointer makes it 34-0 in favor of the Tri-State Warriors. And why don't we go ahead and take a break with 1:22 left here in the third, and we'll be back in a moment.
At Serenity Nail Polish, our vision is to promote creativity, confidence, and self-expression for our leaders of the next generation. At Serenity Nail Polish, our mission is to provide all children and women access to a safer, healthier, chemical-free nail polish option. At Serenity Nail Polish, you are the creator, you are the brave, and above all, you are Serenity.
Meant to tell you that commercial you just saw with Serenity Nail Polish, the people behind it, Jasmine Phoenix. She's an English language teacher, wife, mother, and entrepreneur. And along with her husband, James, and daughter, Serenity, they have created Serenity Nail Polish. And that was founded back in the summer of 2020, so they're going on like 2 years. And the mission for them, help create more priceless experiences with loved ones. All you need to do as the kickoff, I think we had a little bit of a false start. All you need to do is visit serenitynailpolish.com for more information, one of the proud sponsors of Tri-State Warriors football. Now, as they try and reset, I want to mention that you may want to consider getting a late dinner at Bubba's 33 restaurant with a lot of burgers, pizza, and beer. Please do not put all those in a blender. They are served along with a lot of other good things, and you get to see many large screen TVs showing sports and music videos. You might want to pop in there tomorrow watching Game 7 of the Celtics and Heat. That should be fun. Dine-in and curbside pickup is also available, and it's located at the Gateway Shopping Center in Parlin on Route 9. So definitely check it out, bubbas33.com. All right, so the penalty was an offside on the kickoff against the Warriors, so the kickoff will be from the 30-yard line. Warriors in control, but this time get the kickoff, and taking it about the 35, knocked down by the returner. Tries to break through a tackle and goes to about the 46-yard line. And once again, it's Crump. I mean, she has been all over the place today. And bringing her down was Lily Anderson, who is a veteran player from Temple University. By the way, a little background on her. She's a special ed teacher, which is, I'll tell you, that's really tremendous. She loves the movie The Blind Side. And this is interesting. Her hobbies are fishing, darts. It says goats and chickens.
Nah, that's exactly what I like to do all the time. You are correct. Fishing, goats, and chickens.
And she's a Purple People Eater, Minnesota Vikings fan.
Yeah, well.
Even Lizzo gave that team some love a couple years ago.
We can forgive her for one thing at least.
I know. The truth hurts, though.
Yeah.
But anyway, 1st and 10 for the 47-yard line.
See what Harrisburg dials up here now.
Let's see quarterbacks. Taking the snap. Rolling to the right.
Crump.
Look, and it's Crump this time, and Crump crashes to the 49-yard line.
Once again, Crump, yeah, she's trying. She is trying her best to keep this Harrisburg team on her back. She is doing it all this evening for them, which is great, you know. Once again, if she had a supporting cast, you know, there might be a different game here.
Well, let's put it this way. Crump is not giving up, and there's no question about that. By the way, Drumgold had to tackle on that last play, 2-yard pickup, and looks like we'll have the final play of the third quarter coming up with 30 seconds and counting. But Harrisburg, I'm sure, they want to end on a positive note. I mean, their season may not have worked out the way that they had hoped. And, of course, the last couple weeks for them have been, shall we say, have not worked out in their favor, if you want to put it that way. All right, here we go on a 2nd down. Crump looking, and here's a pass, and
it's complete.
Oh, it looks like it was a catch. Yes, it was for a 1st down.
I think that was Santos on the pass too. Santos was like a quarterback there.
All right, well, it ends up being a 1st down, and we have hit 3-quarter time. The catch actually was made. That would be Sharina Johnson out of Harrisburg, who went to Morgan State University. So we have hit 3-quarter time. Shall we break here? Yeah, we might as well.
They got one more play.
Oh, they got one more play. Okay, that's interesting. So remember, official time is kept on the field, so no 3-quarter time yet. 1st and 10 from the 42. Here's a pass. Right into traffic. It's caught at the 30-yard line. And once again, Crump does it again.
She was able to run a short, drag route there and be able to get behind the linebackers. Even though with the defender there, she was able to come down with and make a great catch on that play. But that's where the Warriors have been slacking. The receivers have been getting behind their linebackers, even though they dropped back a good depth this time. But Trump came down with a great catch there.
All right, 1st and 10. Ball spot at the 30-yard line. Harrisburg trying to put together another drive. Here's a handoff going up the middle to about the 25 and still chugging along. Another 5-yard pickup that time. That would be Leslie and Trinta who came through with that. Now I think they've signaled 3/4 time. So they were just a couple plays off, but no big deal. So after 3, the Warriors lead the Havoc by a count of 34-0, and I think we can go ahead and take a breather. Final quarter coming your way from New Brunswick right after this.
The football used by 70% of high schools and more NCAA programs than any other is also the #1 selling football in the U.S., the Wilson GST game ball. To ensure superior tack and pebble definition, Wilson sources only the finest leather, which is treated with a proprietary Wilson-developed tanning process. A small team of expert craftsmen then constructs each GST game ball right here in the USA.
All right, we're back here in New Brunswick. About ready to start the final quarter here. I got a wire tangled. That's why it took me a second. Well, we were about to start the 4th quarter. Well, we have a tangled play, and the last play just short-circuited here in the final quarter. And Harrisburg's thinking, they're discussing, and Harrisburg thinking it's on the Warriors. Ball's already spotted at the 25-yard line.
Was there a flag?
I don't know, or unless they just stop play just to reset things. So, whatever. Well, there was a 5-yard pickup right before 3/4 time hit. So it is 2nd and 5 from the 25-yard line. And going with a quick huddle and spreading everybody out for the 2nd and 5 play. See what happens here. Taking the snap, looking, firing. Oh, that was nearly intercepted by Amanda Anvento, who's out of Toby Hanna. She went to Indiana UC of Pennsylvania, and she's a teacher. She's a teacher.
Yeah, her favorite sport, her favorite movie is The Little Giants. Nice. That's a nice one there. That really works for me, The Little Giants. I like that.
Big black and blue. 3rd and 5 from the 25-yard line. I believe Santos is back at quarterback for this series. They spread it out. Under center she is, and now they're going to go with a lead handoff. And here's Leslie Ann trying to push away the line of scrimmage. This almost looks like a rugby scrum here. And maybe getting about the 22, about 2 yards short of a first down. So Leslie Ann Trinta, who's listed as an offensive line person, ends up getting 3 on the play.
It looks like the Warriors defense are looking to maintain this shutout. They don't want to give it up. They are fighting down there in the trenches to make sure she does not get any yardage here.
I was going to say about Jacque Dorsey. She's a veteran player out of Lindenwold, New Jersey, not too far from me. Went to Lincoln University, and she works as a clinical associate. So, and it says she loves Haitian food. She loves singing, coaching, cheerleading, and just going out, if you want to call a little Jax Jones there.
Favorite movie's Coach Carter, which is a great movie also. Here we go again.
Actually, I was looking at the wrong one. All right, on 4th down, here's a pass. It's going to be caught for a first down to 19-yard line, 4th and 2, and getting 3 on the play. I was actually looking at Nikki Joseph. So the pass ends up being caught by Johnson. So a first down for Sharina Johnson. I was actually given the background for Black Nasty being a Nikki Johnson. Yeah, she loves Haitian food. She loves singing, coaching, cheering, going out, and her favorite team is the team that she plays for. Keeps it easy, you know?
That's great.
All right, on first down, back again. They're switching quarterbacks and trying to get out of the grass. She's pulling a Tony Romo. Look at this. She's getting about the 20, running to about the 15, and they get sandwiched at the 13-yard line. That was a Tony Romo maneuver if I've ever seen one by Rachel Pastrana.
She came out and she scrambled. She broke that tackle and was able to go to the left and get upfield and get, a couple of yards, not many. The defense was able to rally to the ball and get up and make a play before she gets into the end zone. Like I said, the Warriors do not want to give up this shutout. They look like they have something more to play for just besides, this 34 points. They want to preserve that shutout there.
They want to preserve the shutout.
Preserve the shutout.
Trust me, we have had some word issues.
Yes.
Hey, you never know you get a live broadcast, but hey, you got to have some sort of humor to go along with it. But anyway, 2nd and 5 for the 14-yard line. Here's a pitch out left side. Oh, they got a couple blocks. Oh, and a crash at about the 12-yard line. And I believe Lisa Fisher said, oh, no, you don't. You're going only down 2, and that's it. I mean, that was a sledgehammer hit. Dorsey, speaking of which, was on the tackle.
Dorsey.
So a couple more yards there. Actually, it might only give her 1. So it'll be 3rd and, we'll say 4 from the 13-yard line. They have to get to the 9 to get goal to goal.
Crump is limping out there. She looks like she's hurt at the moment. I don't know.
Well, you got to remember, she's done so much in this game, and eventually fatigue sets in the final quarter.
Yeah, well, let's see what happens. She could be faking and then break out the backfield. Listen,
that
would be interesting.
Well, maybe you get a quarterback called.
Look at the pain. I think. Oh.
Well, considering the quarterback's so elusive, it could be called misappear.
Yep.
3rd and 4 from the 13-yard line. Pastrana back, gonna take a shot, and in traffic. No, it's incomplete.
Guess who
they went for Crump. They went for Crump, but it was in a lot of traffic, and she could not hold on to it. So obviously they're going to try it again on 4th and 4 from the 13-yard line.
Defense was there, but ball was once again underthrown just a hair, and she was not able to come up with that pass. The defense was able to rush a little bit, but not too much. Harrisburg, they need a little time. She needs a little bit more time to be able to complete a good pass and get this first down and continue the drive.
And I'll tell you this much, Joey. With this Harrisburg team, if their execution's a little more crisp, this is going to be a team to watch out for in the next couple of years. Maybe next year even. But you got to give them credit, and also the Warriors you can put in the same boat.
That is true. That once again, a victory like this at the end of the season, says that you came along, throughout the whole season to put something together at the end. It helps for recruiting at the end of the year.
Here's Pastrana firing and was right through the hands, incomplete. They went for Sharina Johnson. She couldn't come with it, and Harrisburg turns the ball over on downs with 8:20 left till time.
Yeah, well, right now, the Warriors are still continuing their shutout here.
Well, Joey, a question for you. With this team, I mean, what would be your off-season plans?
On the Warriors side, yeah, I would definitely look to recruit another back that would be a little more explosive, a quarterback that's just a little bit more mobile and a little more accurate. And always the big thing, you got to recruit offensive linemen. That's the biggest thing here because they got decent receivers who can come up and get the ball. But it would be offensive line, then a quarterback that's a little more mobile and a back that's a little more explosive that can hit the holes.
Now, where were you put Sine Williams in that case?
Sine.
Now, remember, she is the quarterback. Now, what would be the plan for her?
I am not sure, but I would definitely make it a training camp where she would have to fight for that position and, steel sharpens steel. So she may wind up coming out the better quarterback, but it only would improve her game play. She needs to work in the offseason, yes.
All right, so it'll be 1st and 10 and a rare handoff And, oh, look at this. It's
Nice
going to be
end
Lily
around.
Anderson.
Great
Anderson
run.
still running
She's on her
30
feet.
to the 40. She may be off to the races. Midfield
cut.
juke tackle and down at the
Oh.
30. And who saved the touchdown?
Pastrami?
Pastrana.
Oh, Pastrana, yes. on the
Rachel
tackle.
Pastrana with the stop. Otherwise, that's like an 87-yard touchdown run. But it's 57 yards for the veteran Lily Anderson.
That was a great run. That was a great run on her part. She took that ball, the pitch, turned the corner and turned upfield and took it straight down the sideline up until Pastrana came up and got a good angle on that. Took a very good angle, was able to make a play, which was important there because not she would have scored on that play.
Well, this is the one I talked about who had goats and chickens as a hobby.
Yes. Blindside, her favorite movie also. And, like you said, the Purple People Eaters, we're not going to falter for that one. But, it is what it is. Vikings, what are you going to do?
And she ran like Adrian Peterson in his younger years. But we do have a timeout, so I think we're going to go ahead and break with 8:03 till time. Warriors over to Havoc, 34-0. We'll come back in a moment.
We want to have fun, and we also want to dominate the world.
I feel like as athletes, we're just always beating ourselves up, so we want to stay at the top of our game.
And KT tape is something that every time I pick it up, I know I'm going to be, best supported and enhanced by. So that's awesome.
A lot of times I'm not even injured. It's just coming from, a hard workout and I'm sore the next day. Just a little tape to relieve the pain and get the most out of my training.
I don't have time to mess around. If something's not working, it's like out of my kit. Just every product they use is simple and it's effective and it helps me feel better. It's a beautiful product that supports you. We all need a little more support in life.
Okay, back here in New Brunswick, 34-0 in favor of the Warriors over the Harrisburg Havoc. And you have to consider, too, Joey, as I was going to mention before we had our break, that this Warriors team, even though they've had a lot of struggles this year, they have improved and they've increased their play, of course, the last couple of weeks. This obviously has been a breakout game for them. Do consider, this is a team that's had 14 rookies on this squad. Now, they have plenty of veterans, too. We can't forget Nikki Joseph and then Jack Dorsey and, of course, Netta Wise and Sine Williams and a bunch of other veterans. So it's and remember, Nikki's played for 15 years. So they know about leadership and experience. It's just teaching the rookies and just having the old with the new being nice and smooth in their transition. Here's a jump pass, ends up being intercepted by Harrisburg at about the 23-yard line. So Sine, kind of like more of an ill-advised pass and threw it in a lot of traffic, and one of the Harrisburg players comes down with it, ends up being an interception.
She rolled right. The linebacker was just sitting in the soft spot right there. She might have not seen her, as she threw the ball. The receiver was there, but the linebacker just was sitting right underneath and was able to pick the ball off and, turnover, Warriors.
Well, Veronica Martinez was the one with the interception, so Harrisburg gets the ball back again, and they'll try and drive down the field. They have played better offense, especially here in this second half. I know the Warriors have played very well on defense. I wonder if fatigue is starting to fit in a little bit in Harrisburg, clicking on some cylinders here.
Well, I'm not sure. Have they had any turnovers the second half yet?
Well, everyone has had turnovers.
True that, but they seem to be controlling the ball a little better the second half offensively and not making too many mistakes.
Well, keep in mind, Harrisburg's turned the ball over 6 times. The Warriors have turned the ball over 4 times. So hasn't been the prettiest or cleanest of games per se, but still the execution is something to work on. We almost had another turnover as the ball went incomplete. Drumgoole was the closest to the ball on that play. MacGyver, the intended receiver.
She tried, she had good time there. The defense didn't rush as well that play, and she did get behind the linebackers, but the ball was a little underthrown there.
All right, so 2nd and 10 from the 24-yard line. So obviously for a lot of these ladies on both sides, this is a learning experience for them. And obviously, as I've always mentioned in my broadcasts, is that football is a very character-building game, but it's so parallel with life lessons too that, you might be one of the brightest stars, but even the shiniest of stars get humbled sometimes.
That is true.
Let's see what they come up with here on 2nd and 10 for the 24. A high snap. A lob right, and I think there was a miscommunication there. Santos was looking for Pastrana, but Pastrana, I guess, could not read the route, or there's just some sort of disconnection with the communication. So incomplete.
It did seem that way right now, but she tried. The defense was rushing a little bit there, but not too much.
All right, so 3rd and 10 from the 24-yard line. Just going to mention again, we have plenty of other things going on with HSG Network, especially in June. We got appearances in Pennsylvania and even Atlantic City scheduled. Lots of goodies. Make sure you subscribe. HSG Network on YouTube if you haven't done so. Those of you who have already subscribed, tell your friends to subscribe. We got some good things, some good live stuff, and we're going to be with you through the summer. So some good entertainment here on HSG Network. So
tune in, subscribe, hit that subscribe button, guys.
And crazy shouts to Rachel Smithers, who checked in with us here on HSG Network, and we've got a good comment board on here today. So thank you guys for your support. Of course, we're both the Tri-State Warriors and the Harrisburg Havoc here on HSG Network. 3rd and 10 for the 24-yard line. Santos, again, the shotgun. They send Crump in motion, and this will be a pitch out. We could have a halfback option, and there will be. Down the right side, and it was almost executed perfectly, but it ends up going incomplete. And I think it was intended for Stephanie Gray, but as the ball was coming, I think her feet came out from under her, and she just couldn't make the catch.
I think she did fall down, and that was the problem there. The ball was thrown well. I mean, it was a great play. Once again, here's your razzle-dazzle play that you talked about, possibly getting them downfield, if not a touchdown. They had it, called it at the right time, wasn't able to complete the pass.
So that'll make it 4th and 10. From the 24th. They've had some good ideas. It just hasn't worked in their favor today. That's all.
That is correct. They've been trying. They're not giving up. They got a lot of fight in them. I'm really proud with the Warriors here. They're preserving this shutout. They don't want to give it up.
Well, they're actually going to punt on 4th down, and it is a short directional punt, and it's going to get away from the returner, and it's going to roll and come to a stop at the 48-yard line. So that is where the Tri-State Warriors will get the ball with just over 7 minutes left till time. But in Harrisburg's situation, they're trying some things, like I said, Joey, and just it's not working out, but they have some ideas for the future that when it does work out, there are going to be some special plays.
That's right. But like you said, that one play could have been big for them. It would have gotten them first down. They would have had momentum. They, once again, keep moving the ball and hopefully don't make any of these mental mistakes that they've been doing. But it's on the Warriors now on this next offensive series that they have. Let's see what they come up with. Maintain possession this last 6-7 minutes of the game, hopefully, and control and, get a couple of first downs, take time off the clock, possibly score if that's what you want to do. But you want to really, take as much time off the clock at this point as you can.
I was about to say that's probably their top priority right now, so I wouldn't be surprised to see other runs, like we might see Lily Anderson again. But before we do, there's a timeout called by the Warriors. So let's take another break. 7:06 left in this one. 34-0. Warriors over to Havoc. We'll be back in just a moment.
Cahill drops back and throws. She's got a wide open receiver. Cooper goes to the right. Gets a hole, finds enough for a first down, breaks a couple tackles. She's only got one person to beat. She's going to be in for a Minnesota Vixen touchdown. And she's in for another touchdown. She's down to the 10, the 5, and she's in. Is she in? For a touchdown!
All right, back. Yeah, go ahead. Like you start, Joey.
Here we're coming back from the timeout now. Let's see what the coach called the timeout from the Warriors. Not sure why. Maybe he wasn't comfortable with the formation that he had out there or personnel. And, he called the timeout to fix it because, once again, it's about, controlling the ball right now and trying to kill the clock as much as possible, waste more time off this clock as you can. So maybe he wasn't comfortable with what he had out there personnel-wise or the play that he had called.
I think I agree with you, Joey, especially the personnel front. That's what a lot of times coaches call their timeouts because somebody wasn't necessarily in the correct place, and that's what normally happens. But you're up comfortably, so you want to make sure you execute this as best you can. They're still going to pass here up 34-0. Here's Williams back and lobs it to somewhere in the northeast corner, incomplete. Kind of threw it away. Now a late flag. I mean, there was nobody out there, so we'll see if that's an intentional grounding foul because there was just nobody in that vicinity whatsoever. But the other question is, was she out of the pocket? Now they're disregarding the flag.
I believe she was out of the pocket, and there was a receiver, but she just threw the ball to the sideline because there was a receiver towards the middle of the field, a little past the hash. So, you had someone there, but you just, really overthrew her, so.
Hey, listen, it happens sometimes, and of course, Sinead's been doing a lot of scrambling in this game. You have to give credit, though, to Harrisburg's defensive front that have kept pressure on Sinead in this game, but Sinead, in turn, has done some good things and thrown 3 touchdowns. She's been able to read the defenses very well, and that's a lot of the reason why this Warriors team is having a complete 180 compared to last week.
Yeah, that is correct. Well, let's see what Harrisburg comes up with now. I mean, if they get this pressure here, to maybe hopefully get some turnover here if they can.
Well, they're showing blitz here. Oh, and they blew the play dead. Flags are down. There was a false start anyway. So a false start against the Warriors, so that'll back them up 5 yards. Harrisburg definitely was showing near jailbreak blitz.
It did seem that way. They were coming with everybody. They were bringing everybody. The kitchen sink, everybody.
They were. I mean, we haven't had too many penalties in this game, but needless to say, not necessarily from an execution front, at least from a penalty standpoint, it hasn't been horrible.
It has not. Both teams have been good with penalties, not going off sides too much, not too many penalties. You had a few there, but it's been a pretty good game as far as penalty-wise goes, which is a good thing because in this kind of game, the fatigue and everything, those penalties come easily. Those little mental mistakes.
2nd and 15 from the 43-yard line. Again, Sinead in the shotgun. Let's see what she decides to do here. She takes it, goes back, will throw. A pass is caught, and trying to get out of the way is Troy. Troy knocked down at about the 48-yard line. So she gets the 5 penalty yards back and forces a 3rd and 10. But more importantly, the clock runs.
That is correct. That's the thing that you want, right? You want to complete passes. You want the clock to continue to run. And hopefully you need a first down here so that you can maintain possession of the ball and not turn it back over to Harrisburg because, once again, they're looking to preserve this shutout. They want this shutout badly. So they need to get a first down here so that they can continue this drive.
And let's not forget their defense hasn't been too bad as well.
The defense has been doing a lot of work. They've been really tenacious and really been attacking the ball, swarming to the ball on tackles and everything, which has been great.
3rd and 12 from the 47-yard line. They do send Bell in motion, I think it is. And here's Sinead being chased. Will lob it. They had an open receiver, but the pressure was too much, and the pass ends up going incomplete. They went for Janiah Taylor, but obviously the pressure was too much, so Sinead threw it away, and it forces 4th down.
Once again, that backside pressure is what's been, giving Williams trouble. She's been having to roll out and not have enough time to set her feet and be able to throw the ball, which has been an issue this evening on a couple of plays there for her.
So that'll make it 4th and 12, and I wouldn't be surprised if they tried to punt this one. And the only reason being is you just don't want to make any further mistakes, and you want to play a field position game now. You have a better chance of preserving the shutout if you pin them further deep in your own territory.
That would be the case. That would be great, but Williams came back out the quarterback. So it doesn't look like they're going to punt. It looks like they're going to go for it.
Yeah, I think you're right here. But then again, you expect anything in these types of games. So I don't know if you call it the no punt league if one exists, but get the right code on NFL Blitz, you might.
She can pooch punch. You never know.
That's true. On 4th and 12, here's Sinead back under a rush. Gets through the rush and tried to do a design draw play, but it ended up going so slow, she ends up going to the midfield stripe, and that's it. So she gains 3, and the Warriors turn the ball over on down. So Harrisburg will get it on the midfield stripe for giving it a shot.
Yeah, that's right. She tried. I'm not sure if it was a design run, but she had to leave the pocket and come upfield. She was able to get a few yards out of that, but once again, they took time off the clock, which is what they wanted to do. They gave the defense an opportunity, one more play to rest. Once again, you got players going both ways, so you got some bodies that rested on the sideline before they came out. So let's see what happens here.
Okay, so 1st and 10 now for Harrisburg at the midfield stripe, and we'll see how the Warriors line up on defense here. Let's see what they got here, as it's going to be another quarterback and trying to get through the rush and not going to be able to do it. In fact, it's going to be a 1-yard loss. The quarterbacking that time was Veronica Martinez, and she just couldn't turn the corner. Good job by the defense of the Warriors to slow it down to a 1-yard loss. And that's one thing we've noticed in comparison to last week. Obviously, this whole team all around has been playing much, much better. Now, obviously, there obviously were some there were adjustments, and yeah, some things were thrown in that they would not have liked to see. But all in all, I would say this is going to be a very satisfactory performance for these ladies.
The Warriors coaching staff came up with a good game plan for this evening, and they're executing it well this evening.
Here's another pass, and that's incomplete. Martinez threw it in the direction. I'm not sure who it was, but it ends up being 3rd and 11. And, yeah, give credit to that defense, too. You got to remember, when you force 6 turnovers, you better win the game.
You're right. You should be winning the game if you force 6 turnovers there. But the defense, once again, really tenacious, been all over the field, on the ball, a toss, a run, whatever, even a pass. You still get, a good amount of people rallying to the ball and making a play on it, which is what you want. You don't want to give up any extra yards on any catch or run.
All right, once again for the midfield stripe, 3rd and 10. Ding Martinez again to shotgun. Back to her left. Rolls left. Looking. No, I'm sorry. That one is Pastrana, and there were 2 Warriors coming right after her. And Dorsey as well as Drumgoole share with a sack, force a big loss on the play, and force a 4th and 20. I'll tell you, that defense has been shooting from all corners.
I tell you, they had no problems. I mean, it was basically,
so this
it was
first day. Y'all look delicious.
Yeah,
I mean, pretty. Sometimes they know me up there. I pop a couple collars.
Sorry, we had a couple bugs in the system.
We're coming back. Well, anyway, once again, the defense was able to pin their ears back. They knew it was a pass, obviously passing down, and they just were able to rush.
And here's a punt that this time for Harrisburg, and it's going to go past the returner, and they're like, we'll let them down it. It looked like Randy Troy was going to try again, but then when the hop went past her, she was like, nah, we'll let her down it. So it'll be Warriors ball at the 20-yard line. And, I mean, what do you think has been, Joey, the biggest difference in this game for the Warriors, notwithstanding the turnovers, but as far as the execution is concerned on all 3 facets of the game?
All three fashions have been excellent. Offensively wise, they have been playing. The offensive line have been playing well. Very first half they were doing great. That's a little let down now, but Williams with throwing the ball and running the ball, and defense has been back.
All right, so why don't we show you that sack again, in where their quarterback just went running for cover.
Once again, it's 3rd and 10. You're obviously passing down, so you're going to come. Everyone's blitzing or just coming off the ball with their ears pinned back. There's that blitz from the outside, and there you go. That's the end result. You see that where they had no choice.
Once again, Secret Deodorant, the official deodorant and official replay of the Women's Football Alliance. This time it's going to be a carry, and it's going to be a Drumgoole again, and she will get a good piece of yardage down to the 28-yard line.
It was a good handoff. It was a good run. The offensive line blocked well on that. Just the Harrisburg defense came up with a good play to stop her, but once again, They're still running the clock, and this is where the ball control comes into play now. It looks like they're going to do.
She actually gained 19 on the play. What had happened, and I had neglected to mention, there was a holding call during the kick, which was 10 yards from where the ball was downed. So they started from the 10, and Drumgoole was able to gain 19. Actually, no. So now they had the markers like 10 yards the wrong way. So I think they love to confuse me. But it's still a gain of 8, and it's 2nd and 2.
All right, like I said, once again, I think now is where you get this ball control. You want to, like, try not to make any mistakes and, run the clock out. You don't want to throw a pass and possibly get an interception of some sort or stopping the clock during the course of an incomplete pass. So.
Well, the only problem is timeout is called by the Warriors. So let's take another break with 2:24 left in this one. Warriors ahead of the Havoc 34-0. We'll be back in just a moment. All right, following the timeout, the Warriors reset 2nd and 2 from the 28-yard line. Going to be a pass to the left and incomplete.
Wow.
Once again, Janiah Taylor, the intended receiver, but she just couldn't come up with it. And the receivers, I mean, you have to understand some of it might be their own doing in the way they're positioning themselves, but at the same time, it's also where the ball is when they're trying to catch the ball. So a lot of times the receivers haven't had too much of an opportunity to grab the ball. Now, keep in mind that Jacqueline Todd's had 2 touchdown receptions. Randy Troy has had 1. So there hasn't been a rushing score, but Antoinette Wise, of course, a fumble return for a score, and Jacque Dorsey, she had a scoop and score also in the 2nd quarter.
Right. So, I mean, the receivers are still having their troubles, bringing the ball in and maintaining that possession. Once again, probably trying to turn and run with the ball without even having it.
Well, I know they want to get on the positive side of the stat board, but at the same time, you got to remember it's a team game first and foremost. Here's a handoff. That's Drumgoole again, and we'll see where they spot it. That's going to be close depending on the spot. Yeah, they're going to give him the first down. So with 2:04 left, and probably will be counting before too long. However, I think we have an official timeout as a Harrisburg player, needless to say, isn't doing too well. But we're going to check more later. We'll take another break. 34-0 Warriors over to Havoc, and we'll come back in a moment.
I was all for it from the beginning, secretly.
I told her that, if you join, you're in it. She's fast for her age, and I said, look, if they can't catch you, then they can't tackle you.
We, believe it or not, found an extra small pair of Zenith pads, and I was like, hey, we're going to get these.
Zenith just fits better. They love it.
Touchdown, come on!
I have a secret. I'm in love again. With this, my secret is a new secret dry spray. Totally revamped. And it smells so good. No hold your breath cloud either. It's fresh, people. And it's secret, so it works all day. Thanks, odor fighting spray. Spray fresh, stay fresh. Fam, this works. Secret.
All right. She was able to get off the field on her own power there, which is a good sign. Once again, like I said, these ladies do have to go back home and get to work on Monday or Tuesday for that matter.
Well, they better not be working on Monday unless they're at the Memorial Day Parade. And by the way, those of you watching in New Brunswick, the Tri-State Warriors will have some involvement with the Memorial Day Parade locally in New Brunswick. So if you happen to be in that area, check them out and show your support. And, of course, everyone from the Tri-State Warriors wants to thank everybody for their support. Of course, a special thanks to them for letting us here at HSG Network come in and do the last couple of games of this regular season. So we're very appreciative of them, and we thank them for the support and everything else that has been going on. All right, here's a little shovel pass to Drumgoole, and Drumgoole still going, crossing the 40, still fights her way, but she'll get to about the 47 before Pastrana brings her down.
It was a good toss, good shovel pass. She broke a few tackles, was able to get upfield and get some positive yards. And once again, the best thing is she got a first down and keeps the clock moving and the chains moving. So once again, the time of, the possession is what you want to continue the clock moving.
Well,
I think they called the timeout.
At some point.
I think he called the timeout. That's why I was confused. It's, but okay, timeout.
Yeah. Well, there's probably people saying from the booth, no, don't do that. but they did use, by the way, the Warriors did use their last timeout. So with 1:16 left, ball at the 47-yard line, we're going to see probably more of Drumgoole. Try and get a couple more plays in before this one gets in the books. And they go with an I formation, which we haven't seen much of today. And here's a handoff. Looks like Ishana Alexander. No, I beg your pardon. That's Lisa Fisher. I wasn't looking at the right number. Out of Alvernia University, LJ was able to get a couple on that play. She loves to travel, but that's all we know about that. I do too, but on the side of a limo driver. But anyway, and I wanted to mention, of course, I think the defensive player of the game, definitely Antoinette Wise. She's a veteran player from Norristown, went to Northampton Community College. We mentioned she's big into art, and of course with the burgundy and gold for the NFL. And and remember, she has had, I believe, out of the 6 turnovers, she's been involved in 4 of them. So you have to consider that. And of course, my offensive player of the game, Jacqueline Todd, with her 2 touchdown receptions. So it looks like we're going to have one more play. I don't know if it'll be a kneel down or not, but no, it's going to be Sine lobbing it to a wide-open Todd who can't come up with it, incomplete. Wow. And she was just a little bit outside of there. She could have come in and maybe grabbed it, but just a little bit out of her reach with 19 seconds left.
It was a good try. I get where, you're trying to continue to get the ball downfield, possibly get another score here. But I would say that, here's where you got to take either, you got to do a victory formation or we run the ball.
Well, one thing you got to remember, Joey, is anytime you have a semi-pro or special league, you don't necessarily see that. But you got to remember, you mentioned about these ladies who come back home to their families. They have jobs. And when we see one who's an RN, we have one who's a master barber, a programming coordinator. I noticed that Joanna Ladson's a U.S. Marine paralegal. Obviously, to her and everyone who served, of course,
Thank you so much for your service, yes.
You took the words right out of my mouth there. And let's also remember all those who gave all so that we can keep fighting for our freedoms here. And well, they did take the knee, and there is the first victory for the Tri-State Warriors in their franchise history. Their coach just got the coldest shower in history. The Tri-State Warriors defeat the Harrisburg Havoc 34-0 here in New Brunswick this evening. Your final thoughts?
Great game. The defense was on fire this evening for the Warriors. The offense was great. Connecting Williams to Todd was a big deal this evening. I thought it was awesome.
I think they did a heck of a job, and even though they finished 1-5 in the year, props to both sides, and the Warriors, great job for them. So, by the way, we want to thank one more time, as soon as I can get the sheets out, the people who are responsible for this Tri-State Warriors team, co-owners Richard Harrigan, LeBryant Robinson, General Manager Kerry Maybank, who we interviewed at halftime, Reggie Raymond, who's the chairman, Roy Hamilton, the vice chairman, Salita Harrison, the treasurer, Brian Wright, the secretary, as well as media and marketing strategist, Kim Williamson, the communications specialist, Leslie Thompson, the event coordinator, Rashidi Hendricks for player personnel and development, Tracy Washington Craig, and Yameli Ayala, members at large, Ishana Alexander, player representative, and Talisha Tampa Bro for project development. Thank you guys so much for allowing us here. Your final score here from New Brunswick at Memorial Stadium, the Tri-State Warriors 34, the Harrisburg Havoc nothing. Thanks for watching here, courtesy of the Women's Football Alliance and the HSG Network. Thank you for joining us, and enjoy your holiday.